swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back, hit the track over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez in the drive, to deep right, away, back, goal! It's a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime. It is a judging blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Okay, it's going to get real interesting here because we have managers that are going to be speaking to the media coming up here in moments. Torey Lovullo, manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, who just led his team to the World Series based off love, trust, commitment, and effort, as we told you over and over again. Normally for Torey, there would probably be like 4 people. Wow. Now there is a whole, like if we could turn the camera right now.
There's someone else speaking at the same time. Is it David Bell, manager of the Reds, is speaking on the other side.
How many people are over there for David Bell? By the way, speaking of managers, Bob Melvin, former A's manager, is texting me.
I remember him as a Padre.
He was a D-back.
Mariner.
So he's got to do 12:31, 1:15. What would we tell him? 1:30, 1:45?
How about let's tell him I don't think I have one for 2:00. We can start the show with Bob tomorrow. I don't think I have a 2:00 tomorrow. You have the guest thing open?
We're booking guests as we speak. I'm telling you, this is how this thing works. You run into all these different people. There is Torey Lovullo, the manager of the D-back. I want to yell out at him because they're being told that we can't have him. But it's normally we've had him for years here on the and their PR guys are totally hoarding him right now because Torey's a friend of the program.
I got it. We don't. Let's see, tomorrow. No one at 2:00.
All right, we're efforting Bob Melvin tomorrow at 2:00.
Oh, while we were on break, I just locked up. We're gonna have Sam Fold after our general manager on
Sam
Wednesday.
Fold, you know who
Phillies GM.
You know who I also ran into? The smartest man in baseball.
You saw
Craig Breslow. I ran into old Craig. I'm going to do a really dirty trick live for you guys on the air. I'm going to play David Copperfield. See what's in this hand. Nope, it's in this hand. When Torey is done, I'm going to stand up and kind of mosey over and see if I can get him to come over. Would that be a dirty trick on their PR?
Yeah, a little bit. Probably. We have a good relationship with them.
Yeah, but I want him now.
Oh, well, I'll let you handle that. Although we found out about what happened with...
See, you got to remember Cody, so this is how Cody and I work, okay? Just to let everybody know. Cody is the good cop. I'm the bad cop.
Fact.
Right? So I go in, like Chad Pinder, by the way, former Oakland Athletic, is going to join us. I ran into Chad Pinder during lunch, talked to Chi, and Chad Pinder, I said, Chad, you know what? You never had a proper goodbye to A's fans.
I mean, it's true.
So Chad Pinder, we are texting. It looks like Robert Melvin can do 2:00, but he goes, do you know Matt Chisholm? Who's Matt Chisholm? Is he the Giants guy?
Yeah.
I'll have Cody contact him. Sorry to be doing this live, but this is how it works.
I mean, this is live. It's just live multimedia show. We can do what we want. We're not on terrestrial radio.
What did Jim Harbaugh say with the Niners?
Or San Francisco 49ers. We can do what we want.
We can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want.
Well, now he took that mantra to Michigan, and they really do whatever they want.
That'd be the Michigan Wolverines, the number 1 seed in the Final Four.
Rose Bowl, right?
And they got to choose which bowl they go to, right? That's kind of a unique thing this year.
I just know they are playing Alabama.
Yeah, in the Rose Bowl.
Saban and Harbaugh. The last Rose Bowl ever.
Is Harbaugh going to big league Saban the way he big leagues all the other coaches?
Oh, where he doesn't shake hands or.
I mean, Harbaugh's got Nick Saban ever make the Super Bowl as a head coach in the National Football League?
Of course, the Dolphins didn't make it.
Did Nick Saban ever make an AFC title game? Harbaugh coached in 3 NFC title games and a Super Bowl. Nick Saban never done. So all of his national championships are phenomenal. But at the highest level, they both coached there. Did he ever get there?
I don't think so, no.
No. Did Nick Saban play in the National Football League? Did he quarterback in the National Football League?
I don't think he did.
Jim Harbaugh did. So Jimmy Harbaugh how about Harbaugh taking down Saban on the way to his first national championship? By the way, did Nick Saban ever resurrect a program like USD?
Well, he did resurrect LSU, kind of.
He resurrecting LSU. What did he coach at Toledo or something like that?
He was at Michigan State too, right?
But we know before that he was like at Toledo.
Toledo was a powerhouse in the MAC.
Not back when Nick Saban. It's a MAC school. It was like Bowling Green or Toledo. Nick Saban before he went to Michigan State.
Well, no love for Akron.
This just shows you my great football knowledge right here. You're going to have to give me praise here.
He was the head coach of Toledo for 1 year.
And then Michigan State.
No, he was the Browns DC.
Oh, that's right. Browns DC, then to Michigan State.
Then LSU, then the Dolphins, and then Alabama.
Who was the head coach of the Browns when he was the defensive coordinator there? His very good friend.
The guy everyone says is done, Bill Belichick.
Who got shut out yesterday. What was the score?
6-0.
6-0. Wow.
Patriots are the first team since like 1935 to go 3 straight games along 10 or less points and losing.
Melvin's not even here yet. We'll get by. Hey, we ran into Mark Kotze, A's manager today.
Kotze is actually speaking like 40 minutes right there.
Yeah. David Forst. We still got to see David. He's going to be joining us. Pike Goldschmidt. We got to contact Pipe. We got permission to talk to our wonder boy of analytics and data, Pike Goldschmidt.
We saw him last night.
Want to get him. He was sober. So he said yes, sober. So that is a big key when you're here at the winter meetings. We've had a lot of people talk to us about a lot of different things with the A's, and it's very obvious that is going to be a hot topic of conversation. The one thing that I think I feel bad for the A's fans who I think have gotten a lot of, let's just call it misinformation. I think people, and the reason I think I can talk about this is because for some of you, you may know, some of you may not know. This is my second go around with working for a franchise that's looking to leave Oakland. I worked for the Oakland Raiders, and I worked for the Oakland Raiders all the way till they left. I was one of the very few that was on the last plane flight the Oakland Raiders ever took. I was on that flight. And I remember then the way the Bay Area media covered it was very similar. There was they always put these hurdles in front. Well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? There's always going to be the hiccups. And, because there's some people who ask, why aren't you guys all over this? Why aren't you? And it's like, because what you want to hear, we're not going to sit here and just give you the misinformation game. And we're not going to sit here and we're going to speculate and try and figure out every single way that the A's moving to Vegas is not going to happen. That's what you guys want. That's where you're going. That's where our fan base wants to be. Our fan base wants to follow people. They want to watch. They want to do all this stuff of everybody who's trying to tell you it's not going to happen. But at every single turn, every single time these people go out and give you this misinformation, they end up being wrong. And we're not going to sit here and say, well, I told you so. Well, I told you so. I mean, for instance, how many people can I go and I read an article? Can I see something on X, Twitter, or watch something on YouTube that tried to float out there that the owners may not all vote for this? All right. This is a perfect example. Well, the Dodgers, Dodgers and Padres, they don't want to give the Giants their own territory, all the Bay Area their territory. That'd be crazy. Dodgers consider Vegas their territory. Arizona consider like all this. They came up with everything of why the owners are not, you won't get the 75%. They tried to float that at you like this was real. It's like you can go on and watch YouTube videos where they tried to sell you. This is flat out misinformation. They're just out there. I mean, I don't know. And some of these guys are our friends, and I understand what they're doing. But see, I lived this when people tried to do this with the Raiders. If you went on the timeline of how things went with the Raiders and how things went with the A's, do you remember they used to say the NFL owners don't want their teams in Vegas? The NFL owners don't want their teams in Vegas. The NFL owners are not going to vote for the Raiders to move to Vegas. How did that vote go?
They've been in Vegas for how many years now?
Now, how'd that vote go?
Oh, yeah. Differently than everyone said it was going to go.
32-0.
Yeah.
So here you have the same media area, but see, I think a lot of people who have hopped on this A's thing and covering this A's thing are either not NFL people or they're Niner fans. So they didn't follow the Raider thing. They didn't follow it. So they don't understand they're falling in the same, they're doing the exact same, they're acting the exact same way. They're throwing the exact same pitfalls, oh, they're not going to vote, they're not going to vote for public money. They're not going to, they've thrown all this stuff at you guys. And that's why I feel bad, because I know you're going to absorb it. I know you're going to consume it because it's what you want to hear. You're going to like, and you're going to subscribe, and you're going to follow. And the reason why we don't talk about it is because it's like, they're wrong, and we know they're wrong. I could have told you they're all going to vote for it, but you didn't want to hear that, and I know that. That's why we stick to baseball, and people here are asking us questions, and it's like you knew they were going to vote for it. All 30 teams, it was 30-0 vote, just like that. No, you know what? I think the Dolphins owner didn't vote for it. I think it was 31-1. It was the Dolphins owner, and I don't was it is the current Dolphins owner? Is he still the same guy?
Stephen Ross.
Stephen Ross. Yeah. So it was one. It's like everywhere you look, everything they say ends up not being true. So it's either they're giving you, I don't know what they're giving you. You'd have to talk to them. I just know that so much of the information that they continue, remember all the sources everybody had? Where are all the sources?
They dried up.
Unfortunately for them, the sources dried up. This is just reality. They're giving you what you want to hear. There's blood in the water. They're giving you what you want to hear. And it's majority of the time not factual. And a lot of it is speculation or flat out wishing on a star and wishing for hope. Sorry. And that's why we don't want to cover it. And that's why we don't sit here and talk about it. Because it's not what you want to hear. You don't want to, and I don't know what else to tell you. Do you want to sit here and have me lie to you? I don't know if all the owners are going to vote for it when I know all the owners are going to vote for it. Is that what you want? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give you misinformation. I'm not going to lie. I've never done that to you. I'm never going to. And people can be mad at us, and you can be mad at us all you want. We're not going to change. We're going to cover the team, and we're going to cover baseball because that's what we're paid to do. And you just have to understand that where this thing is heading, it's Las Vegas. And you can put any pitfall you want. You can put any hiccup you want. You can throw whatever you want out there. Right now, this is where it is going. And every pitfall you've thrown out there hasn't landed. That plane hasn't landed. Unless something's different, it is what it is. And I don't want to go too in-depth into this. I want to get back to talking baseball, and, we're going to have, quite a few A's people coming up here. It's like all the A's people have been obviously very busy today, a lot of meetings, but we're going to have all the A's people on here and address, the needs. But just from the stadium thing, because I know there's going to be people who are going to make the comments. It's like, what do you want us to say? Because you don't want to hear the truth. The truth makes you angry. The misinformation makes you angry. You're angry. We get it. I understand it. Like I said, I've lived this already with the Raiders. I'm living it again. I understand how the fan base feels. I feel bad that so much of what you're getting is just, it's not accurate, and it hasn't been accurate. And once again, when I bring up those sources, where are all these great sources? They just vanished. Well, that tells you everything you need to know, right? The sources were clearly coming out of City Hall. And they were basically giving you City Hall's information. And if you're believing those, I mean, if you want to believe everything that they're selling, go right ahead. There's a lot of people that don't. But a lot of people don't speak vocally about it because it's an unpopular thing. And everybody turns on you when you do that. I don't know what else to say.
I think you covered it pretty well. I don't think there's really much.
Yeah, I
left to
mean,
say.
If someone really had questions and really, I could tell you this, being here in Nashville really opened up my eyes.
Yeah, same.
I mean, it's been like, wow, to see a city that's growing fast. And as Matt Vasgersian said, I never think too fast, but some people will try, maybe it's too fast. In the great state of California, where we're from, we're seeing people flee too fast. Here in Nashville, Tennessee, there are people coming too fast from all over. They got people coming from the Northeast, the upper Midwest. They got people coming from the West. This is a city that is growing, like more cranes per capita, and obviously you're going to get traffic issues because your infrastructure is not built for it yet. But you've got a lot of people moving here. Why? Because of a lot of different reasons. But I tell you what, I can tell you, we didn't walk the streets and we were worried about crime.
No, it's true.
All right, we were. To be honest with you, I don't know what state taxes are here.
Well,
I'm sure it's not as high as California.
I think the tax was 9.25
here.
Yeah, well, I remember when I bought.
That's not low, by the way.
No,
that's pretty high.
And then like bars on Broadway, you have to pay a liquor tax too. I found that out the hard way on Friday. I ordered 2 drinks for my wife.
Yeah, because once we got here, you haven't paid for a drink.
I remember when my wife and I got a drink, and it was $32, and it was $8 in tax.
Really?
Yeah. And I looked, I'm like, what the hell is this liquor tax?
The old liquor tax.
Well, they got me. So.
Really? Was it on the? It's kind of like the hotel tax.
It's like I don't know. They told me like it's like a Broadway thing, like off Broadway, or it's a tax. Like if you go to a bar on Broadway, you have to pay some like liquor tax. But if you go to like places off of Broadway, it's not as expensive.
We've been living off a famous quote for was that last year spring, or was it 2 springs ago?
It was last spring.
Was it last spring?
Yeah.
The great Scottsdale bro. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was literally one of the best we have had in a long, long time. Ryan Divish joins us here, covers the Seattle Mariners. Where are we back on this camera here? We're back here. All right. First of all, how have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, I've been good. I spent my off seasons in Montana, freezing my ass off.
So wait a minute, you go from in the basically rain or drizzle of the summer of Seattle to Montana in the winter.
Yeah, I go back to my hometown, Havre, Montana. It's up by the Canadian border, 20 miles from the Canadian border, central Montana. The wind blows. We've had snow already. It's actually been really nice there. It's been in the 40s. Wind chill. So at one point last year, there was a stretch where it never got above 30 below for like 6 straight days. So yeah, that's where I go. My girlfriend lives there. So I spend, it's my penance for being gone all season. I'm gone so much. So I spend October, November, December, January, all in Montana, my hometown.
We got to get you like a trip to Hawaii at least, or somewhere in the sun on the beach.
We went to Cabo last year, so we're trying to figure out a trip to go this year, whether we want to go to Hawaii or Cabo again or whatever. But yeah, about end of January, I try and get in a trip somewhere to stay warm. Before when I lived in Washington, right about I didn't hate that coming from Montana where it was cold and snowy and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the rain and gray, but right about the time I'd have to go to spring training, I was tired of it. So it works out okay. But right about the time where I just can't take the weather anymore, then spring training rolls around. I go to Arizona and get warm.
All right. So there's been a lot of movement. I mean, Suarez leaving. I mean, that's obviously a really big bat. Torey Lovello is going to have him now. Torey, the manager of the D-backs, is speaking to the media off to our left here. Obviously, a big trade to kick off the meetings. I thought your tweet was funny. It's like, here's the trade. I'm going off Twitter. Good night.
Yeah.
So what's going on in Mariner land? Because obviously it seems like they're one of these organizations, like a handful, that all in on Ohtani, trying to do everything it can to get as much clear off the books for Ohtani, go after Ohtani, and if you don't get Ohtani, then it's new business.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they're in on Ohtani anymore. I think they had a small needle to thread to get Ohtani, which was basically you got to want to come to Seattle more than you want to get paid by these other teams that are probably better. You know, they weren't going to be able to go 600 million or 500 million. They just weren't willing to do that. That's not what they do. What they were going to try and do is offer a shorter term, maybe 5 or 6 year deal, higher AAV, you know, and play to just, this is the freedom of it all. Like we'll give you the opt out after 3 years, after 4 years, after 5, and then you can go wherever. We're not going to lock you in. But from what I've been told, like the bidding and everything and the freedom that Ohtani wants in these contracts are going to be there on these big deals. So I don't know that they're really a player. From what everything it looks like, they're kind of trying to trim some payroll off. I mean, that was what the trade for Jared Kelenic was about. Kind of about what the trade with Eugenio Suarez is about too. Remove some money to kind of give them some flexibility to sign some guys or trade for some guys that are going to make money. They're dealing with some regional sports network. I wouldn't say confusion, but just like they just don't know what's going to happen to the regional sports network right now, and it's different than what other teams are dealing with, like with Bally Sports. And so I think that's one reason why they're not like going to be huge players. I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong, and that's happened, but from everything I've heard is like they're not going to go after. I mean, they did the stuff with Ohtani and they found out they weren't really in the market. I don't think they're going to go after Juan Soto or anybody like that. So they're going to play on the periphery like they've always done.
Wow. So that kind of changes because we were led to believe Mariners were a player, right?
Yeah.
You think about last year, building on that, you have all this pitching. Look at Juan Soto in that lineup. I mean, everybody, if you're in on Ohtani, it's going to be tough, but you hope to land him. If not, there's other business to do. But you see them. I didn't realize they were having an RSN problem. Who is their RSN?
So they own their own RSN. They own Root Sports Northwest, and they own it. AT&T owns a portion of it, and they do some of the handling of the negotiations. But the Mariners own their own RSN. They bought it a few years ago. If you remember, when the Sacramento Kings were going to be sold to a guy, Chris Hansen in Seattle, and he was going to move them back to the Sonics, the Mariners bought Root Sports thinking, look, we're not going to let this guy buy the network and we're going to pay him. If he's going to go, if we're going to get the Sonics back, we're going to try and make money off of him.
Yeah.
And so they bought it kind of, and then it never happened. But they own the controlling interest. So the problem is, and it's been good for them, the ratings have been up, with their success. What happened this year is Comcast Xfinity, which is the largest cable provider in the Northwest, in the Pacific Northwest, specifically Seattle, the Western Washington. They decided that they were going to move Root Sports off their basic cable package and onto an upper tier of like their sports package, the highest tier. So for fans that wanted to get Root Sports, which includes the Mariners games, the Seattle Kraken, and the Portland Trailblazers, they were going to have to pay an extra $20 a month. And we know how
that's not, no.
Yeah. And so they're, and so fans, especially with how the season ended, and everything else, $20 extra a month over, even if they do it for 6 months, plus cable continues to go up, the costs continue to go up. So many people are cord cutting that they're looking at massive, they're worried about massive subscriber drop off.
Totally.
So they don't know kind of where they're at financially, which is odd. I mean, this is a team that had 2.9 million fans last year, the highest they've had since 2005.
There's a buzz for Mariners, especially after the year before making the playoffs. It was against us, the walk-off bomb, and now, we've seen. A's fans, we've seen it.
Yeah, I think their last 12 games or 15 games in T-Mobile Park this last season, they had over 30,000 people. So they're making money. They know how to make money. They were making money when the team wasn't very good. But so much of these teams and so much of their payroll and structure is based on the RSN that's a problem. And like with the Mariners, they bought the rights to televise the Kraken, and they bought the rights to televise the Blazers a few years ago, paid pretty good money to get them. And those are based on that subscriber information that they had. It's on the basic. If they lose all that, then the equation that they had for it to be profitable kind of goes out the door. So I think they don't really understand what's going to happen. I know they're trying to negotiate to try and get that back off of there, but I just don't see it happening. Comcast made the decision. They've been kind of going back and forth. From what it sounds like, Comcast just said, look, we're going to put you on this upper tier package, and if you don't like it, we can just drop you as a whole.
Wow.
So that's where they're at, and I think that's been the biggest thing. And I think that's changed a lot of their plans. I don't think that Jerry DiPoto went into this offseason thinking we're going to have to move a bunch of guys and trade and free up payroll. You always want to free it up, but I don't think that they thought, oh, we're going to have to do this. And now they're in a situation where they have to do it if they want to go out and get some guys, whether it's trading for some of the Rays hitters or, you're signing a mid-level free agent. They're going to have to move some money around so they have some free money to do it. And that's kind of what those trades have been about.
Yeah, let's end on this. I mean, at this point, we thought the Mariners, big players, pitching. This is a team, in the West. I think the Astros could take a step back. We'll see what the Rangers will be like in their defense. I mean, the A's, we are what we are, heading to Vegas. Still, they're years away from really doing something. Ohtani leaving, the Angels, we don't even know what the Angels are. This is kind of like a Mariners time with this young pitching. I mean, where do they go from here? If it kind of sounds like Jerry DiPoto's kind of wheeling and dealing from the outside, and they're not going to be big players.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, this was their window. I mean,
yeah,
you look at their rotation. You have Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller, and Robbie Ray coming back eventually. I mean, that's your window. And, you don't know how long, not only like contract wise, you're going to keep them all together, but they're all going to be healthy at the same time. That's, Logan Gilbert's never missed a start due to injury. George Kirby, 2 straight seasons, he's made starts, so you're like, this is your window and your time. You have a kid, you have a superstar in center field. You have a shortstop coming off his best year in JP Crawford, and you have a catcher that hits 30 bombs right up the middle.
The big dumper.
Yeah. And what they don't have is the pieces around it. And they doesn't sound like, they're going to go out and get players. They're not going to just go into the season with what they have. But when they did this rebuild after the 2018 season and got rid of Cano and Diaz and all those guys, they promised that once they kind of got a core built up, that they would supplement and they would spend. They were cutting back all the payroll, trimmed it way down to under 100 million. And then once they got all the pieces in place, they would spend. Well, the pieces have been in place the last 2 years. Last year, they got Tommy La Stella and Trevor Gott in free agency and traded for Colton Wong, which was just a bad contract swap, and AJ Pollock. This year, they did trade for Teoscar Hernandez. This year, they didn't offer Hernandez the qualifying offer. They didn't bring back Haniger last year. They're doing all these things. They're in a different spot, so they're going to have to get better by doing things like a team that is a lower level payroll team, and that's not who they are. I mean, their market they're not a mid-level market. They're a higher level market, and they should pay that way, but they're not going to do it. So if it's trading Bryce Miller to get one of the hitters from the Rays, that's what they're going to have to do. Or maybe they can get one from the Orioles, but it's all going to be about club control and guys that probably don't have to cost a lot. There may be a free agent signing in the mix, but it's not going to be a guy. It's not going to be the Otanis or the Bellingers or any of those guys. I think it'll be a lower level guy. I mean, even you wonder if somebody like Jammer Candelario is a little too expensive for them at this point. But that's the cost of doing business. If you want to compete, you got to spend. And the team that won the division, that celebrated on your home field, winning making the playoffs, and then eventually won the World Series, spent, and they won. That's how they make money. So they're not in a great spot. It's pretty weird because like a year ago I didn't think that, but this Comcast thing changed a lot of the math, and I think they're just kind of cognizant of that right now.
Author of the Scottsdale Bro.
Yeah, no more Jared Kelenic in Scottsdale. Where are we saying, Sarasota?
Sarasota, is that where they train?
I mean,
I think I looked it up and it was Sarasota for Kelenic now for the Braves.
So
we're gonna have to do an investigation on Sarasota, Florida, to see how he fits in.
That's where Macho Man's from.
Yeah. Oh, so you get the big Macho Man glasses with the white, and you probably go like if you're driving a Jeep Wrangler, you go from white to yellow. You want to have the full yellow with the ribs.
Does the tribal tattoo still work though?
I mean, maybe you get some barbed wire. instead.
Okay.
It's Florida, something like that instead.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
And
Should be
then we'll
interesting.
contact you if anything happens. You guys do anything big.
That sounds good.
And then if not, stay warm.
Oh yeah, always. All right. See you
Our
guys.
buddy Ryan Divish from the Seattle Times joined us right here. We got Lance. Oh, our guy Lance. We saw Marquee Sports. Got to have Lance on. You kidding me? Let's do this. What is Tori done? Tori
He
is
was done, but I don't know. He's right there. I think you're gonna
see if he'll see us.
He's talking to someone. It looks like.
So we've always had back when Tori was not a World Series manager. He's a former A, so he's always come on, right? And for the first time, his PR people are big league and going, "Oh, we're not so sure." Like we were the only people that would talk to him. I mean, at one point we weren't sure of his job status, whatever. And now they're like, so hey, let's do this. Yeah, you get big time. You're big time. Is this a horrible look that we're live and I'm standing like this, but I'm trying to get Tori's attention. We saw Marquee Sports and we got to have him.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Good to be here.
We're in between Cardinals and Cubs. We knew there could be something could get ugly here.
He could. That's why he separated you guys.
Yeah, I was like,
both sides with you.
Put the A's because no one's gonna fight us. They know you don't mess with Oakland. But yeah, we were laughing about that. We've been following you.
I know.
You've
you
been
have
throwing
not
out your
earlier this
hot
year,
takes.
Of course.
All of a sudden, everybody was freaking out when you had that take about taking Barrios out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm here to primarily get you to think in another direction than I think the general consensus is thinking. So that's where I go. Like if I see everyone having one take and I think there's an angle that maybe data analytics presents, I'm always going to go to that side. Even if I maybe don't totally believe it, I'm happy to take the fall and be the guy that becomes the punching bag for that take. So I had to defend Schneider there. I thought it was an interesting decision. I mean, I think there's a lot of variables that the public doesn't know about that interaction. Then we saw afterwards, there was a ton more in terms of just the, whose decision was it? Did the team know? That was a whole debacle, I thought. But
all right,
that was a while ago. We didn't get into national stuff.
Let's here. We're going to talk. This is my take on Ohtani. This is what's interesting. I feel Shohei Ohtani is basically because we know a lot from our time with the Angels. Remember, he broke in.
Sure.
And that was against us, and we've seen him a lot. We know the Angels people. To me, Shohei Ohtani, don't think of him as a baseball player. Think of him as Tom Cruise.
He is a star.
You want to make a lot of money? Because this is all about return on investment.
Yeah.
You want your ROI for this contract? So you want to make a Mission Impossible? You get Tom Cruise.
It's a good movie.
You want another Top Gun 2? You better have Tom Cruise because when he's on the screen, it makes money domestically and internationally. And this is where Shohei Ohtani plays more than any player in the history of baseball.
I agree.
Because of the international money. So we could sit here and talk about what you think is weighted runs created pluses. You can think about data and all that. His is about money and how much money you're going to make off of him. So that's why I wonder when I think about Chicago versus LA, or especially like San Francisco, and I think about Seattle, where you start talking about Japanese airlines, Japanese banks, like Chicago versus the West Coast. Sell me on why Chicago, the Midwest, they're going to make as much or more money off Ohtani than West Coast teams.
I'm going to go into my accounting background here.
And by the way, a couple people brought up that I thought was really good. Such an international city. Toronto's still in
Toronto
play.
makes a lot of sense in that respect. I think the case for Chicago is that he would become the figurehead of the city, I think, by a wide margin. I don't think there's any other athlete that would surpass him in terms of just and I'm talking multiple sports. Like Connor Bedard's been unbelievable on the hockey side. Like he's becoming
like the biggest guy since Jordan.
I mean, I can't really think of anyone that would dominate like he would.
Now, some people are going to look at us and say we're crazy, but folks, Ohtani is an international star. Michael Jordan was an international star.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of this. Is just he could be like we don't know what he wants. Like we think it sounds like he wants to win. I think everybody wants to win. I think everyone probably wants money, right?
Yeah.
You might say you not want money, but then when someone presents you an extra $5 million a year, they're going to call you bluff as to whether you're actually going to turn that down to go somewhere where he actually wants to win. So I don't know his incentives. I don't think anybody knows his incentives. That's, I think, the biggest mystery of this. Looking at even like sports books and stuff and like trying to see who they're projecting, where he's going to go. Like I get it, it's the Dodgers, but at the same time, I think we're discounting the probability that someone else just comes in and pays for him. I just saw a report. I think it was from JP Morosi that the Braves are like potentially interested. And like that's the first time I'd heard that.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like if you actually want to win, like I think the Cubs are a really good spot for that. I think they have one of the strongest farm systems in baseball, subjectively and also objectively, looking at places like Fangraphs in terms of how they actually calculate the value of individual prospects. If you actually want to win, though, like why don't you just go to the Braves? You know, like that lineup is arguably the best lineup in baseball. And then you have Shohei Ohtani in there. If you want it to impact your team as much as possible to then win, like I think that makes a lot of sense. Chicago, on the other hand, is I think a longer term vision. It's like, okay, we have guys like Cade Horn in the minor leagues. I think he's one of the top 2-3 pitching prospects in baseball. Pete Armstrong struggled at the end of last year, but he has a really good chance to be impact defender, impact bat, in my opinion. You have a lot of guys that are coming up and maturing. If he wants to be the shepherd of that, like if you want to project maybe 2 to 3 years down the road, this team being in the NLCS multiple years in a row, I think that's totally fair, especially with adding a guy like Counsell for multi-year deal at $8 million. So like they're here. You know, like they're going to be competitive in that division despite what other teams are doing. And I think they have potentially the biggest pocketbook to do so and to compete. Like no one else is going to, and no one else in the NL Central has even been kind of rumored on Ohtani, right? It's just the Cubs. So if he wants to go to that city and become the figurehead of the city and also have a nice balance of winning, I think he can get everything he's looking for by coming to Chicago. And he can get everything he's looking for by coming to LA too. It's just, I do think Chicago is like a really interesting place in that respect of like being the guy. Like, I don't think he's the guy in LA. LeBron James is the guy in LA. I think people would care about him in LA, but like that is like also another spot where you could go to win. Like, I think they're structured so beautifully in the minor leagues in terms of integration between analytics and how that gets to the field that there's a really good chance they're competitive for years to come, even if, you know, they don't have maybe the lineup they had or the rotation they had a couple years ago. But yeah, that's my case, I guess. Like you would be relative to any other city, Shohei Ohtani in Chicago would be like the biggest. I don't think that that's a debate, honestly. I'd be surprised if anyone could counteract that. Chicago would be like, he's the biggest athlete in the city. Like you want to dominate all 4 markets? There you go.
I don't think there's enough sausage, cheese, and Miller Lite to get him to think about Milwaukee. I don't think that's even in play. You know, I just wonder when you start thinking about the long-term deal that he wants, even though he starts saying short-term just to kind of get more people in, but the long-term deal, he's going to want a bunch of opt-outs in there.
Sure.
How do you feel about that if you say, man, all right, the owner, Ricketts says, all right, here we go. Wait, it's Ricketts, right?
Yeah.
So he goes in and says, all right, $600 million. But he can bounce after 3 years. Like, how are you going to feel about 3 years, 5? There's always that, I can leave you. Like, I love you. Let's get married. But every 2 years, I might be out of here.
I know. It's a great question. I think the most interesting thing about this free agency case is that he has the leverage, right? I don't really think there's teams that have leverage. Everyone is like trying to pitch to Ohtani, and probably trying to appease him.
Oh, there's no doubt.
You know, it's not really the inverse. I think there's a lot of situations with free agency where it's kind of the inverse, right? Like the team is interested, but hey, there's 3 other pitchers we could go after that slightly marginally less to cost, and we think we maybe could capture more upside with. You know, this is the conversation around Snell and Nola and Sonny Gray and other pitchers. Like they're amalgamous. Like they're similar, I think, in a lot of ways, but with Ohtani, like I think whatever he wants, he's going to get, right? Because if you're Jed Hoyer or something, you're probably worried that another team would just match it, you know? So like if he goes in and says, listen, like I want the chance after 3 years to opt out, you know, or maybe 2 years to opt out, where you can get a full season back as a starting pitcher in 2025, that would be, you know, give me 140 innings to pitch, and then I opt out again and I show you that I am a starting pitcher. Then you have the variance there, though. It's like, okay, if he comes back and maybe he doesn't recover as well and teams see him more as a reliever, then that's a completely different calculus in terms of the actual monetary value of him as a player on the field. We're not talking about the off-field stuff, you know, going forward. So I think whatever he wants in opt-outs, he can get. You know, I don't really think teams have too much leverage.
Be like an every year opt-out. I'm going to send a 10-year deal, but it's 10 years of opt-out.
Yeah, like every year. Like it's hard to project what teams are going to win too, right? So like if that's actually the biggest thing he cares about, then like it makes sense to have opt-outs, because what if you're wrong? You know, what if the GM turns over? What if something else happens? Like there's a lot of turnover in baseball. You see it all the time. It's like we think a team's going to be really good and not. Like there's a chance that he's, you know, the team that he goes to is not good in a couple of years. And if I was Ohtani, I'd want to build it and opt out as well.
So you chart pitching. Tell people you chart pitching every day, every team. Talk about how I don't think there's anybody in the media who charts pitching more than you do. And just a standpoint of how everybody's doing, their innings, their stuff. Tell us how you chart it.
I mean, generally, if we have a late game in Chicago, I work for Mercury Sports Network, so I'm always at the next to the stadium working in the studios and stuff. I'll just wake up in the morning, and if I miss something, I'll just rip through guys. So like I'll I'll look through lines, box scores, and then I'll go to somewhere like True Media, which is a resource I use, and I'll look at what changed in that individual pitcher. My favorite time is to do this right at the beginning of the season, right? Because then you get, what did he change from last year? 2023, we saw this, and this. First start of this year, what's different?
What are you looking at? Velocity, spin rates? What are you
looking at? The only two kind of biomechanic things we have on the public side are like release height and extension. Those are kind of where I go first to see like, okay, is there something different here? Or if I see something, I'll maybe go back to spring training reporting and see, okay, did he talk to an athletic writer about adjusting something mechanically? Do we actually see that in the data? Is the release height lower? Is extension up? Something along those lines, because then that will feed it back into how is that affecting the pitch shapes? Like, is the fastball have more hop? Is it a new slider? Did he add a cutter? What does the changeup look like? What did he work on? I won't really go into usage that early in, say, early April. I'll probably get into that a little bit later as guys turn over lineups and have an understanding of how they're pitching on a day-to-day basis. But I just kind of look at what pops out and interests me. And sometimes like I'll get nuggets from people and organizations as well. A lot of contacts. I text people and they might say, hey, watch out for this. We're trying to adjust this with this guy. And that Substack I have has kind of grown. It's been fun. I have about 10 front office people actually receiving it every time I send it out. I'm pretty selective with when I send it out. I haven't done much in the off season, but I'm gonna rip it next year for sure and try to blow it up, get it over to maybe like 1,000 people. But I think that it's a testament to just, it helps inform, conversations I have with you guys in the season.
And you do a great job on TV.
Pitchers.
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
And the thing about Ohtani with pitching, now with his second surgery, we just don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know if he'll ever win another game. He could come back and be the most dominant pitcher. You mentioned it. Something that we've thought a lot about is at some point, do you get the most value of him pitching the most? And that maybe he's out of the bullpen.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where he could be a 2-pitch guy and come in and blow people. But from the pitching standpoint, when you're dealing with a second surgery, we just don't know.
It's a great point. I was actually just at Wake Forest University. They had a conference called Bridge, which is essentially a bunch of really smart pitching people go there, way smarter than me.
Well, they've done a whole thing with their school's hospital, right?
That's exactly the bridge is the concept between bridging, biomechanics and everything to the field. So a lot of people there from the biomechanics side and pitching coach side trying to understand. A lot of it was around UCL, and there was I'm not an injury guy. Like I generally stay away from all that because
we're playing doctor here on A's Cast Live.
One of the things that was mentioned though is the return to performance, right? Return to peak performance. That's like, it's kind of like RPP in a lot of the medical fields. It's like, it's hard to measure, number one, because what is peak performance or what is return to performance as opposed to just return to play? Like
that is interesting. Again. Like when was your very, 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 very best?
Yeah, exactly. And like, are you going to get back there? So
is that by stuff or by nut or your?
It's up to you. You could structure everyone
because I may not felt well and thrown a no hitter. That would technically be my best, right?
You can think of guys like Noah Syndergaard not really bouncing back, and then is that because of the injury? Is it because of other things? Like there's a lot of things to kind of play around with in that space. One of the things they talked about is just that percent kind of drops a little. First to second surgery, right? The potential to get back to that peak performance is a little bit lower. It doesn't mean like think probabilistically there's a chance he's better than he was pre-Tommy John. There's a chance he's worse. There's probably a reasonable chance it's about the same. But a lot of variance. The thing that I think I took away was from a lot of the medical talks, there was just every single case is very different. Like we don't get on the public side information as to where the tear was. Like, is it in the middle of the UCL? Is it one ends of the UCL? That was something I like never even thought of. But we get flexor strain UCL surgery, and then the actual doctors going in performing surgeries are like the variance on a case-by-case basis. How's your arm structured? What's your humerus like? There's so many things
because
that factor in.
It goes through your funny bone, right?
Yeah, it's a line. So not all tears are in the same spot.
Is a certain tear in a certain spot better or worse?
Tear, and then we have now the internal brace, which is different than a full reconstruction. There's so many different variables that go into it. And
we know with Achilles, you want a full tear. It's better to have a full tear with an Achilles, but that's totally different. Yeah,
it's a great point. But they talked about the internal brace surgery a little bit, which is obviously a thing that's.
Do you like that from what you researched?
I'm not going to give an opinion on that.
It sounds crazy.
The thing that I thought was the most interesting was the two sides of it. Was one, there's a piece of like synthetic that goes into the UCL in the internal brace, from what I understand. Again, please check me on this.
It's like Tommy John, but not.
Yeah. So it's exactly. So there's a chance that like that synthetic actually helps your elbow from a strength standpoint over time, but there's also a chance that it stiffens you up. So it's like the variability in how one response could have to it is big. I think that one of the things that stood out to me was just that they said with the internal brace, initially they thought they'd have more aggressive timelines, right? Like guys would come back a little bit earlier, which I think has been the case. But one of the things that was mentioned by one of the physicians there, actually a team physician, I think for you guys, Freehill, Mike Freehill, I think is his first name. I'm probably missing up the first name, but
it's Freehill's for sure. Check that.
Freehill. Give me
Dr.
Freehill's first name. Dr. Freehill.
Get him on the phone.
University. He talked about just how like that in relation to the UCL, like I lost my train of thought here, but
coming back faster.
Yeah. So what they did was initially had a set of timelines that were aggressive, and then now, since they've seen more internal brace surgeries because of the variance from pitcher to pitcher, they've kind of pushed it back and just been like, okay, let's just like back it off. Like,
remember when guys were coming back too fast from Tommy John's?
Could come back quicker, but there's also a chance that it's just the same as a full reconstruction. So
wow,
there's so many variables to think of on the medical side, and like I'm barely scratching the surface.
Counsel,
I do not have the same.
I mean, manager, most people go, Craig Counsell coming over.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, like, I think that's a signal that the team is willing to make aggressive moves that they think will benefit the organization.
Is the fan base fired up?
I think the fan base is really fired up. I listen to 670 Score all the time. My guys Spiegel and Parkins and stuff in the market, and I think they do an amazing job. And yeah, I think it's been shocking. You know, I have some individuals in the organization I know that had no clue. You know, is a very small subset of people that I think understood, and that's obviously been reported. It's not really news, but yeah, $8 million. Like, I think they think he can make an impact on this team, and I think everyone agrees, and it's just a matter of
you're analytics guy, and analytics guys think that managers can only do so much.
It's fair. It's a good point. I mean, I've advocated for a while, like, and I've talked to other people about this. It's never going to happen, but give the manager full autonomy, inform him on the analytics, but then track his decision making. Like, you can't improve something that you can't measure, right? That's something you hear in baseball all the time. This is why we have TrackMan and Rapsodo and Hawkeye and analytics to understand body movement, also pitch velocity and shape, etc. Like, to improve something, you have to track it. So it's hard for me to like know even how much manager impact there is, because we don't look at it. We only look at it when you have like these outside scenarios where it's like, I think he completely messed up there. You know, it's like, I don't know. Is that the first time he messed up? Has he made that decision multiple times prior, bringing that one guy in certain spots to relieve a certain pitcher? You know, and also the thing most fascinating to me is like on the analytics side, okay, if we think that it's a poor decision to do X, but the manager consistently can circumvent that, you know, and actually do X and does it effectively, and we can track it over the course of a season or two, like, that's fantastic. Like, I would give the manager autonomy to then override our analysts' decision. Like, that nuance is important. That's why you're paying a guy like, excuse me, Craig Counsell that much money. That's what he's there for. You know, I don't think it should be heavily reliance on analytics. I think it should be the nuance of the manager. But I really would love to see like some kind of information around tracking when guys are pulled, how they're brought in. Like, that should really be introspected into from a management and front office standpoint to understand like how much impact your manager has and how accurate they are at going away from the analytics. I don't think we talk about that enough.
All right, so check this out. With fan bases, I've learned like baseball is different from others. And let me give you an example.
Sure.
In the NBA, when you had the Warriors winning all these titles and now they're brilliant, Steve Kerr, who was a former GM, as now head coach of the Warriors, talked about how he worked with the front office with all of their data. I'm not adverse to the NBA analytics, but whatever they are, right? So he said it was a total collaboration. And Warrior fans went, this is awesome. We're winning titles, whatever. And then all of a sudden they'd look at the A's and Moneyball and analytics, and it was the devil. It's like, wait a minute. Why is it okay for Steve Kerr to tell you that the front office and it's a collaboration? And then when I tell you it's Bob Melvin and a collaboration, you're killing me.
Yeah.
Like, why is it okay? And that's still a problem. So there also is still, and we don't know organization to organization, how many of the in-game on the field moves are coming from the front office.
Yeah. I don't think
we
really
don't know
that much in baseball either. Like, they might say, but I don't exactly know. I think majority of lineups are probably, I'm not speaking of the Cubs specifically, but I think the majority of lineups are probably set or have heavily influenced by the front office based on player availability.
No doubt.
You know, and it's like, that's probably the only thing that I know. But apart from that, like, it's hard to like script things in baseball, you know, like, hey, we want to go 7-8-9 with these guys. And then your starter's struggling in the fourth. And it's like, we think this is a huge spot. Like, do you then go to the 7th or 8th guy? Then like, how does he do out of routine? Like, there's a lot of variables to consider. You know, I think we assume we know more than we often do on the public side. And I think I've been humbled by that over the years.
So when you're doing it on TV and you're doing it for the Cubs, I've lost track of time. Are we okay on time? Where are we on time? All right. So when you're doing, because it's fascinating, you're great.
Thank you.
And there's a reason why he's on television in a major market. When you do it and you give opinion and you show stuff, it's not all going to be roses.
Yeah, sure.
You got to be honest.
Yep.
How does team personnel react to you? Do you ever get any pushback? Because obviously you're showing some smart stuff. I've seen your work. I guarantee it, we know how sensitive these data people are sensitive. You know why? Because they're not used to being sports people. Not all data people, right?
The overlap
They
is,
get, I mean, if you went
massive.
to MIT and you're really smart, but at MIT, no one was grinding you on your grades. Like for us that grew up playing, and then all of a sudden we've gone to meet it. We're used to being judged, and it's part of it. And it's, you know, you got to have thick skin, Buttercup. I mean, it is what it is. But a lot of these data people who come in, like I met a guy that we've hired. He's some guy. He's a data guy in Pittsburgh. He's never played. I met a guy. I maybe should be saying this, but I met a guy. I don't even know what the hell he's ever played. So if he ever started getting criticized, who knows he'd have. So
sure.
How do the Cubs people, and the Cubs got some really smart people, when you're doing what you're doing, and maybe it's being honest and it's, you know, saying that you don't maybe not like something, how do they react to it?
It's a good question. I can't say I've gotten a ton of pushback. I think at the end of the day, I've been incredibly supported by Marquee and a lot of the individuals there to do exactly what I want to do. And I've had a ton of trust from our upper management and people to go out there and be smart. Like we're trying to do something different. Like I'm trying to do something different. And obviously that's going to anger people. I've never really had any odd conversations with anyone in the Cubs at any level. I have really good relationships with everybody there. I think they support me fully. And I think that the key thing is that for me to have some feel around like information that I might get that, you know, is obviously not something I'm going to put on air. You know what I mean? Like that feel is really important. Then if I have the feel around those conversations, the information that I'm intaking and what I'm going to say, and that I think that they give me more trust. Like any organization would give me more trust. It's not that I only talk to the Cubs. Like my goal is to always do something nationally. I love the sport of baseball as a whole. So I talk to people in every organization, you know, and it's like the ability to have that feel and know, you know, what I can bring into my hits and segments and what is just not. It's not okay to do that. Like I think that feel, and it's innate. It's something I've learned over the years. Have I made mistakes in the past? Absolutely. Pre-Marquee, of course, everyone does weird things. But like I think for the most part, you got to have a good feel around what you're given and who you're talking to, and then what makes it into and what's relevant too. You know, like I'm confident in actually saying. You know, if I don't fully understand something and someone explains the topic to me, like it's really hard for me to then go on air and try to enunciate it in a course of a 30-second or 1 minute hit. You know, so. I think it's really innate feel is what it comes down to, and filtering that information in a smart way.
You know, we've talked to so many people who got into this industry because they read the book or they saw the movie Moneyball. Billy Beane inspired a new generation of front office people who want to be somebody. They all want to be like Billy Beane. But you're not going to be like Billy Beane because Billy Beane's different. Billy Beane was a player. He got to the big leagues. He's this super charismatic guy. And then all of a sudden in baseball, we had this influx of just all these data people, and they're not great communicators. They're not good bosses. They're not great communicators. And now we're starting to see the trend of the former player who gets it now being put in charge as general managers, right? We're really starting to see, you know, Chris Young obviously is going to get highlighted, but as you know, Craig Breslow, who we used to have on this show all the time, the smartest man in baseball, Sam Fold, another Oakland, a lot of Oakland guys, Sam Fold, right? And we're going to have Sam. When's Sam coming on?
Wednesday.
So Sam Fold. So we're seeing former players, well-versed in data, who understand it, who maybe have a better chance to explain it and help the player. Because players are interesting, right? Some players are going to love it. Some players are not. Everybody learns differently, right? We all learn differently. Like some people want to read it. Some people are visual learners. Some people, they got to hear it. I mean, everybody's different. But it is something, I think, this trend now, what do you think about that? It's like the former players, but they are data-driven type guys are now being the guys that everybody's looking for.
I love it. I think it's fantastic because it immediately, I think, allows the player and other people to buy in a little bit more. Especially if you have someone that has played and has gone through that. I didn't play at a high level, you know, so like I can't.
What was the highest level you played?
High school. Yeah, I didn't really get to college. I wasn't good. I didn't grow in my body until late, which is always my excuse I got because I'm 6'4" now. But at the time, I was like 6'2", and I was super undersized.
You're supposed to lie and say, "Well, I was really a point guard."
No. I was never particularly good at basketball, unfortunately. But yeah, I love it because I think at the end of the day, player buy-in is huge. I'm talking to coaches about this all the time. Like at the end of the day, you could have everything. You could have seam shifted wake and all these other concepts we're talking about solved, but if you can't actually communicate to the player, then there's no chance that it's actually going to make it into the game and impact the game in a material way. So I think it's awesome because it allows that immediate buy-in, you know, from a guy like Breslow. Like if a guy doesn't believe, you know, pitch design or anything along those lines. I imagine he could just sit down with Breslow really quickly. You immediately get respect because it's Craig Breslow,
Correct,
you know,
yeah.
and then he'll be able to communicate effectively on exactly why it could impact this guy's career, you know? And it's also like respect for the player. Like you got to give players autonomy. That was something they talked about a lot at the Wake Forest conference I was at. Like players have autonomy. Like if that player doesn't want to do something, then like, that's fine. Like one thing I've talked to other people about too all the time is like, you know, they'll bring something to a player. The player will say no. So, okay, you can't do it. You can't do it with the player. But then I really like some of the coaches I've talked to is like they've learned like persistence, like respect that player's decision to have the autonomy in the moment, you know, especially if he's making a lot of money. And then over the course of periods of time, the analytics are almost betting that that player might struggle because of the lack of this adjustment. And then that player come around and come to you and be like, hey, you mentioned that a while back. Like, I'm struggling, man. Like, help me out. And the ability to have persistence in that interaction allows you at the end of maybe a 3 or 4 month period with that pitcher, when he starts to dip down in performance, to then go in and help him. You know, I think a lot of the times, you know, the thing that maybe goes wrong in front offices, or I don't even say front offices, let's say like on-field coaching and development, is like, you know, you bring up something to a player, that player's resistant to it, and then you like throw your hands up and give up. Like that's not good. I think from a development standpoint to do that, you always have to respect that player's autonomy to make a decision and be persistent, such that down the road, like there's a chance that he might come around and actually need your help. And I've heard this example multiple times, some major league cases too, that I won't say specific names, but there's guys who didn't believe a certain coach, and then, you know, down the road, that coach was like, hey, he came around and I stay persistent, and it helped that guy at the end of the day. So that like persistence and respect for the player's autonomy is supremely important.
You know, I look a lot at what we saw with the pitch clock is kind of what we're going to continue to see is all the young guys that we had came up, not a problem. Like they're used to it, right? And I think you'll see this wave for years now. All these young guys coming up are everybody's into.
Everybody's comfortable with it.
Yeah. So it's like once this older generation leaves us, everybody will be so used to it because these kids are using it in high school, they're using it in college, they're using it in the minor leagues. It'll be second nature. So this kind of conversation we're having, we won't have 5 years from now.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I mean, I think that's a really salient point for sure.
All righty. We appreciate your time. I've taken a lot of your time.
No
I've lost. I could talk to you all day.
I could talk to you all day too. You got smarter people coming in than me.
I mean,
managers and people. You put me in front of a manager. It's impressive.
No, I got to tell you, it's your work is really good.
Thank you.
And obviously with Marquee Sports and the Chicago Cubs, you know, we get to see some of your stuff, and that's how we found you. I'm like, this guy's good. We got to have him on. So appreciate the time. We'll see you at the rest of the meetings, and hopefully,
hopefully something happens.
It's like it's like everybody right now. It's like they're held prisoner by Ohtani because you're not going to go out. You're not going to go out and spend like 3 years, $75 million if you're in on Ohtani.
It's a great point. It's a very good point. I don't know. Maybe go get Soto and then come back and pitch Ohtani. You know, maybe
nothing's going to happen with Soto until Ohtani.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen.
So we're all going to sit
trades.
Kind of like Judge last year. Well, we had all the shortstops signed early. Yeah, the shortstops all going, but it's like kind of we're like sitting around. What's Judge going to do? It's the same thing. We're like sitting around, but Ohtani is the whole market. If you're in on Ohtani, you're not making any moves until you get Ohtani.
Yeah, it's a great point. I'm very curious to see where he goes.
Great stuff.
Appreciate it as always.
What do we got next? I've lost track. It's the second show of the afternoon. I've lost track.
Bobby Evans is coming up next.
The great Bobby Evans, 3-time World Series champion, right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend and Commander Cody for Link Soul. You got to go to their website right now, linksoul.com. The new polos are unbelievable. New colors, lighter weight. We got our new summer shipment, Cody.
I couldn't be happier. I look better, all thanks to Link Soul.
So we're talking about new polos. You can check out their shorts, anything you need for summer. They have it right now. When you go to their website, they've got a smoking summer deal. Go to linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field, home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are two things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldworks got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream. You sound like my grandpa.
Now through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Switch today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Former Rookie of the Year and A's first base coach Bobby Crosby joined A's Cast Live to talk about his growth as a manager at Midland.
I wouldn't say there's a lot except for just learning the game more. I mean, there's always different personalities that you're going to get. You talked about Wash. A lot of the stuff I do came from him. It's a passion. It's about the players. It's not about myself. I had my time playing. That was great. Now it's about them. So I pour everything into them. What do they need? It's not about what I need. And I try to do that from when I first started coaching. Managing, there's always, there's different facets of the game. The running game, which I really didn't have to worry about as a shortstop that I've learned. And you get different personalities. Last year we had a tight-knit group that knew each other because there was a lot of repeat guys. And this year we've had, uber talented guys come up, but they weren't a part of that same group. So it's how do we form these guys into all believing the same thing and being under the same umbrella and believing in each other. So there's always certain different things that are going to come up that are going to help me grow as a coach. Whatever happens with me coaching wise, that's great. And I would love to coach in the big leagues and manage in the big leagues. And I think that'd be a blast.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Hey, Billy. This deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
Innovation is at the core of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students preserve genetic information from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and the entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
When Northern California businesses need some pop in their lineup, they call the bank rooted in the East Bay. Mechanics Bank. Since 1905, Mechanics Bank has been helping Bay Area and Northern California businesses find success and perform at the top of their game. See how they can make a difference in your business today. Call or stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Streaming from the town, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
He's so big time that he needed a police escort to get in here, and that police escort was the great Commander Cody. Bobby Evans, 3-time World Series champion, joins us here on A's Cast Live. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. It's amazing. This is not everybody's baseball favorite place because Opryland's so sprawling. Baseball people can't find each other, but I've always loved it, and it's nice. It's the biggest property you can imagine, and you can't walk 5 feet without seeing people you haven't seen all season or all year, or sometimes in years. And it's great to be back. I love the environment, the energy, and this is a big winter meeting. I mean, there's a lot going on. I think there's going to be some action, so hopefully we get to be a part of it. We'll see, right?
So I was telling the fans earlier today. So this is our second show today. So I'll say it again. When I was checking in, I was like, "This place is massive. It is massive." And I asked him, and the guy told me, he goes, "We are the largest property and rooms in the United States of America that doesn't have a casino." They have over 3,000 rooms here. 3,000. And I'm like, how do you get 3,000 rooms? Now, if you have a casino, I know why you're getting 3. They don't have a casino. So there's a water park. There's a golf course. I mean, there's so much going on here. This place, it's kind of like a mini Disneyland without the rides.
That's right. That's right.
It's crazy.
It's a mecca. I mean, it's huge. And outside, looking at it, you don't realize how big it is because you can't only see but so much when you're outside. But when you're inside, you get lost.
Grand Ole Opry right across the way, obviously famous, and so many big acts continue to play there. But Opryland, this place, I'd never been. I mean, I'm fortunate traveling around with the A's and with the Raiders. I've been to most every big city. I'd never been here. And the moment I was here on Saturday night, and I know this is their dead time and how packed they are, I'm like, how's Major League Baseball not have a team here? That's dumb. The NFL's here. The NHL's here. I know our man Dave Stewart.
I just saw him.
Is gonna put a team here. Expansion though, we don't know when that's gonna happen. I'm like, how is a team not here right now?
Yeah, well, it's become even more popular post COVID. I mean, everybody's moving here, so they've done well with the NFL. They've done well in other major sports, obviously college sports. So I think the time's coming. I think baseball's anxious to get Tampa and Oakland figured out, and then off to go. They'll add to 31 and 32.
All right, an agent comes to you and says they want $600 million. I mean, how do you put your arms around the size, the figure? To me, Ohtani's different. He's an international star. I believe he will bring you. I keep comparing him to Tom Cruise. You put Tom Cruise in a movie, you're going to make money domestically, and you're going to make it internationally. That's what Ohtani's different than any player we've ever seen. The return on investment is there. You're going to make a lot of money, but still, it is a commitment. It's guaranteed money. As a general manager, you got to deal with the owner. It's the owner's money. I mean, just talk us through that. What do you think it's like?
Well, those are numbers that we've never seen before, right? I mean, we're still have clubs that are struggling to do deals over 100, and now we're seeing more of that, of course. But now the real struggle for the big market clubs is, am I going to do a $350 million deal, which we've seen the struggle with that. Now you're talking, potentially 600. I mean, the numbers, are being run outside of the baseball ops department right now, which we always were cognizant of the benefits of adding premier talent, and so you would talk about that with a free agent, but never a focal point. But it has to be a focal point when you're talking about 600 million, because the return on investment has to come from other places. It can't just come on a win and loss record. I mean, it's going to have to come in, marketing and seats sold and and sponsorships and following. Of course, we know, the following of this player is tremendous, but how do the Angels afford to let him go? They've already reaped the benefits of him becoming who he is, and so I don't know how they let him go. They know what the return would be. They're probably wishing they'd have made a deal sooner, but I think it gives the Dodgers an advantage, with the LA thing. But at the same time, when we tried to get him before, it was evident that he needed to be somewhere there's a DH. Well, everybody has a DH now.
Yeah.
So I think
Do you think you guys were ever close?
I think the fact that we were one of the finalists, made us close. But I think the tipping point was the DH. I don't know that there was anything else that really, prevented us from being able to bring him home.
Obviously, when I think about, and I'm a novice when it comes to this, but I'm thinking about the Japanese airlines that fly into San Francisco. I know there's Japanese banks in San Francisco. When I'm thinking about how do I get my return on investment here. So with the Giants where they are right now, and you can say the same thing for Seattle, you say the same thing for LA. I was talking to the Chicago Cubs guy. I'm like, I don't know how the Cubs Toronto, international city. Like I can see how international cities this could really play. So like San Francisco right now, how much do you think they're thinking about that? Because of obviously, you can make some money off Shohei Ohtani internationally, especially if you're the San Francisco Giants.
No, I think, the Giants will benefit tremendously, obviously. And they have a lot to offer, with the city, the ballpark, the relationship with San Francisco and Japan and the Japanese community.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity there. I think that everybody's competing against right now is the comforts of what has become home. Los Angeles, right? So that's one thing you're competing against. Ultimately, you're competing against each other's offers and opportunity and chance to make the playoffs and all of that. I think the Giants have shown that they know how to win, and I think that the pieces aren't all there, but I think that he's attractive, piece not only for fans, but he's an attractive addition to any club that will make other players all that more interested in joining, just because he's that kind of transcendent player. But this, I don't think you can count the Cubs out, unless they're just not there financially, because it's still a very, it's one of the most popular cities for, people in the game. And, he's having now played in the games, the big league 6 years. So he's been able to see, or 6+ years. So he's been able to see every city. He knows what he's looking for. I think that the challenge, for all of us is trying to get inside, what makes him tick, right? What's gonna be the decisive point? We didn't know when we went into the process that the Angels would be, his destination either. We did know that we would have to fear the DH, right? We knew we would have to fear that, but I don't know that we could have anticipated. We all assumed West Coast. That was the talk at the time. West Coast. It was also the talk that he wanted to make a name, for himself with whatever team he was with, that didn't necessarily have, long time ties to Japan. He wanted to kind of be the first of that organization at that time.
Yeah, he's been there, done that. Now he's the biggest fish of fishes.
There aren't any bigger.
And now the other big fish, and it's, I've been talking about how Ohtani's kind of paralyzed the market right now, because the other guy out there is Juan Soto. This is potentially a generational talent. You're trying to acquire him with the idea that you're going to have to sign him long term. You're going to be buying what you want to buy, which is the prime years. One of the buyers might be the Giants, but then again, do you want to trade inside division? The Yankee talks has stalled. We talked to Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times. They're having a cable issue, so it sounds like they're not looking to acquire big time money, because we think he'll get around $33 million in arbitration. Take us on both sides of it. You're AJ Preller, you got to get rid of the player, and then the other side of it, you're like, well, I'm a opposing GM. I could trade for him, or I could wait a year and then try and sign him.
Right. Well, the advantage, of course, for any club is knowing you have them now and beyond. I think AJ knows talent so well. He'll compromise when he has to, but when he doesn't have to compromise, when he has as many options as he probably has right now, there's no reason to compromise on what you're looking for. There may be a play where there's a conversation as a deal nears that, we want to know that the agent's open to a multi-year deal, and can we have permission to have that conversation? That could happen with any given club that they're about to make a deal with. I don't think that it's going to be easy for any club acquiring him to make that deal in advance of free agency, just because the market rise is so heavy. You don't want to sell short right now. Why sell short? You got a year away, something players dream of, getting out in the open market. He's going to be so young. So I don't know if clubs are taking a risk on. You have to, unless they're going to have that conversation and can get some assurances from the agent that they're open to doing a deal now, then they're basically taking a risk on a 1-year deal, and that's going to affect AJ's ability to move them.
Yeah, a lot, right? Prospects, like, what are you gonna, if it's just a 1-year deal, what are you gonna give up?
It's gonna compromise what he can get, and
he's not cheap.
Yeah, because of who he is, you still have the opportunity to get 2 top prospects. It's just the rest is just probably going to be added pieces.
What would Barry Bonds, free agent, leaving Pittsburgh, what would Bonds be worth today?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I don't even know if clubs valued him, for what he ultimately became, of course. But everybody knew he was the top paid player in the game. He signed for $2 million more than Ryan Sandberg. That was the deal. $43 million or whatever. 6 years or 7 years.
Sandberg's a Hall of Famer, great player, but it's like $2 million. I think now Trout's got a contract $435.
Well, the guys are getting in 1 year what that Bonds deal was on over 7 years. So it's not comparable. I mean, it's unique that Soto. You talk about Soto. It's unique that he's out there and available, because Padres want to win, but they're trying to get under a certain threshold. He's the easiest money to save on, right? $30+ million in arbitration. So I think it's gonna be some of AJ's best work will have to take place here to get a deal that is attractive to him and still brings some future benefit of making this move. Otherwise, it's shedding $33 million is nothing you want to do with a player like that. He's worth every penny of that $33 million. Find somewhere else to shed it if you can't get a good deal. But he's locked up so many other guys. He can't. He's probably not going to be able to lock up another one, as we know.
So when you look at these meetings from the A's perspective, the A's situation, what's going through with the A's. It's a rebuild. There's a little bit of money we've heard from David Forrest. We're going to talk to him on Wednesday. We usually start the meetings with him, but we're not going to talk to him till Wednesday. But just, when you talk about laying the foundation, maybe not signing anybody here, but you're laying the foundation. Talk about, from the perspective of David Forrest, what you think the A's are doing right now.
Well, I look back at where we were, before a new ballpark in '97. Sabian took over. We'd had a couple of tough years, 93 notwithstanding, but then 94 with a strike, no World Series, 95, 96 were tough years.
Trading Matt Williams was a big deal.
Mr. Quinn was let go, and Brian took over, and trading one of the. He came through the system. He was clearly one of the favorites of the fan base. Had such huge power, but it came down to we can't afford both. You can't afford Barry and Matt. That's what or I think it was Matt and Will, and they ended up letting Will go, and they kept Matt, and then they ended up trading Matt the year later, right? After the 92 season, 93 season, they couldn't hang on to Will. That was a tough decision for the ownership. Now you're going to let go another giant favorite in Matt Williams. And Brian labored over it, but he knew what he needed to do to make the payroll work and at the same time bring in talent. But aside from 97, we were looking at a new ballpark come 2000, and we didn't want to go into the ballpark in 2000 without a team with a chance to win. So I think every A's decision between now and that new ballpark is trying to make sure when that ballpark opens, you have a competitive team trying to win. Not to say that they won't try to do the best that they can with every year that they have, but that's on their sight line, and they've been waiting for that for a long time to have a point in time where they would be able to introduce an A's team with a new ballpark, and that's going to come. I don't know what's the year now.
2028.
Yeah. Okay. So, probably going to depend on low payroll teams in the meantime, but they're going to try to pull things out of their hat, that they always have done, that gets players that really want to showcase their abilities that are getting lost elsewhere, and they'll get opportunities in Oakland. So
yeah, and I think about what John Hart and what they did in Cleveland. Dan O'Dowd, we have him on all the time. I mean, that kind of that model of you're in that old Cleveland Municipal Stadium, but it would be Jacobs Field. You're going to get that. It's like finding those young players and having them hit at the right time and add the veterans. I mean, there is kind of a right way to open up the new ballpark. I mean, when you guys opened up Pac-Bell Park, I mean, obviously you're ready to compete.
Yeah, and I think that's where they want to get to, of course. And they, you look at the Dan O'Dowd and John Hart model, where they were early on in the locking up these players. I mean, they gave them multi-year deals. We saw a kid, I don't know what he got today, 19-year-old kid that got
from Milwaukee,
80 million. Milwaukee hadn't had a day in the big leagues. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. To hold on to your guys, and even the Red Sox, they lose Mookie Betts because they didn't approach him in a multi-year deal early enough. And that's what you have to do. And if you're Oakland, as you're thinking about the new ballpark, if you have players in the system or coming, come 26 and 27, you're going to want to lock them up so that they're there not only in 28, but they're there beyond.
Yeah, it's to think about giving money to guys giving incredibly large amounts of money to guys that have never competed at this level.
That's hard to do. It's hard to do. I mean, we had a record deal with Madison Bumgarner after, 1 year in the big leagues or something. And even that was only $40 million guaranteed, and he had a year in the big leagues. We had a World Series under his belt.
Yeah. They pitched great against the Rangers in the World Series.
So yeah, I mean, but that's part of what clubs are dealing with now. There is an incentive to get your young players up, earlier. And it not only for your clubhouse, but also for your fan base, and Major League Baseball is giving you incentives. But to make that work, once you get a guy on the clock, his costs just go like this. So if you're going to bite that bullet, $80 million or whatever it ended up being, you're gambling on the upside, right? And it's the risk you take, especially in a market where you're trying to control your payroll. $80 million with however many years they have control now, that they're in the option years they have. So that's how you're going to make it work. That's how you're going to balance the books and keep your talent strong.
Yeah, it's just like crazy. It's like you got to make sure he does get time in the big leagues.
He's 19, and so you a lot of things can happen. I mean, I look at the Tatis deal, and that's $300+ million.
Yeah,
and he didn't have a ton of time in the big leagues at that point, but you saw the kind of player he was. But things happen. Things happen. Injuries happen. Players make bad decisions. With in this case, I think it was steroids. I mean, there's huge risks, and clubs aren't built to take on but so much risk, because ultimately the threshold between the investors and what kind of risk, you're not just one guy owning these teams anymore. I mean, in most cases. So you have a whole group of people that have a voice to what level of risk you're going to take on the bottom line, and they don't want cash calls. They want to see you.
Yes,
they want to see you win, and they don't
remember those, right?
Yeah, we don't want cash calls.
Let's end on this. What are you trying to accomplish here at the meetings?
Well, I've joined a Future Star Series, who Jeremy Booth has built a really great amateur baseball program that really includes a holistic approach to developing high school players, and trying to make it more affordable for the average player, where players that get lost in the shuffle and don't get to compete at these higher level events, these higher showcase events, we want to make sure that the players that are part of Future Star Series are seen, evaluated, and signed or drafted. Whether they're signed to go to college or drafted ultimately for the big league opportunities. And Future Star Series has, over the last 6-7 years, has built a really good reputation amongst baseball scouts, and partnering with major league clubs to make sure that their players are the kind of players that are worth clubs going to see. And so I'm consulting with the president, Jeremy Booth, to make sure that they continue to leverage their opportunity to make an impact for these young players and these families, and ultimately the game. And so it's for these meetings, we're going to be having opportunities to meet with clubs to remind them of what we're doing, and the player development model that we've built from a technology perspective and from a performance-based model, and as well as just an event space, just to make sure that they know that the players to see are going to be right in our camp.
I'm so glad you're doing that, because so many of these showcases, they become obnoxious. I got buddies whose kids, it's like, and you're only getting certain types of kids. And like you said, not everybody's parents can afford it. Not everybody can do the traveling that goes on. It's unbelievable. You don't want to miss out on some talent, because there's other sports that will take it and will absorb it. One that's done a great job of that is football. Football is taking kids and help kids with camps and everything. So fantastic.
So this will be affordable, and it's also it's national across regions all over the country. So it doesn't require the same level of travel. And then if they do get invited to one of our signature events, it'll either be at Fenway Park or City Field in the past,
awesome.
or Global Life Field or Minute Maid Park, and so those stadiums are where the premier players end up getting to be seen, even more, and great professional baseball type experience in the process.
Where can people find you?
Well, futurestarseries.com is whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or our website. But the events are happening all over the country through regional and partnerships that we have, and it's sponsored by New Balance. So New Balance is behind us, and they have a great reach, and they're proud of their work.
Egyptian baseball still going?
Well, little pause for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
hopefully it's a short pause.
Yeah.
But thousands of kids are learning the game of baseball in Egypt, and we're looking for new ways to grow that. And I think the pause will only energize us for going back there next year, which we unfortunately had to miss our fall season.
3-time World Series champion, growing the game domestically and internationally.
Love it.
The great Bobby Evans joined us right here on A's Cast Live. It is always great to see you.
Great to be with you. Thanks a lot.
Coming up next is some guy coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are two things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy, hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldwork's got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
This is Chris Townsend and Commander Cody for Link Soul. The new summer colors and prints are in stock. The new polos, lightweight, all the colors you want. Fabulous. We got our new order.
My wife is so happy that I'm dressing so much better. All thanks to Link Soul.
You name it, whether it's polos, whether it's shorts, anything for your summer needs. You need to revamp your wardrobe. You go to linksoul.com and they got great summer deals. Go to linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa. Now through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Switch today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try the world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying your award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
And the underdogs also in athletics win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, three-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ for me or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Zerata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest, just when he was walking up, it made me think of this guy.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, gift stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun.
I mean, I just dun, 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 dun. I mean, it's like Ric Flair. When you come walking through, everybody parts. It's Mr. I mean, forget Tom Selleck, Mr. Baseball.
In order to be the best, you have to beat the best, Downey.
How are you?
I'm great, man. It's great to see you. It's nice to see you in person. It's nice to not have a little fan going over my head while I talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Although, like, if Ray could come over and, like, blow my hair around, then it would feel a little bit more like I'm doing this from home.
You guys like your little bunker.
Basically. But I'll tell you what, I got a great view. You know, that's what they set up where I do my radio show, too. And
is that where you do it? Because you got the great TV around you, too.
Oh,
all
the
games
TV behind me. Yeah, but
you're like a sports book. I was thinking maybe you had a gambling problem. With a gambling problem,
I
go
have a gambling
1-800.
solution. I don't do it. But like I stare out at the pool and I've got a camelback and a palm tree in my view. So it's perfect. It's great. It's beauty of living in the Valley of the Sun.
You know, you probably work these meetings like when they talk about Sean Casey being the mayor. I mean, clearly you're the mayor of the winter meeting. You're working the meetings, you're working people, getting coffee, and you'll be there till like 2 a.m. tonight in the bar working people.
Yeah, I don't know if it's working people. I mean, listen, I love people. And the winter meetings, like we were having this discussion as a staff the other day. And if you were to tell me you can only do one of the Jewel events every year, and I've been fortunate I get to be part of spring training and all-star game and postseasons and all that
Calling
stuff,
WBC
right?
games,
Calling
Mr. WBC.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like I've gotten a chance to do some really special things, but if I could pick just one to do, it would be the winter meetings. I love the winter meetings because I get to see everybody that I don't get to see during the course of the year. And so for 4 days or 3 days now, it's great conversations. It's a chance to have a warm embrace. I'm a little bit of a social butterfly. So like I like to be able to get around, talk to a bunch of different people. And the other part is that, you know, a lot of times, and this is like, I'm going to get deep in the weeds here. Like I always text sources when I need information. For me, I don't like to bother, but if I see them in person here, like I get a chance to really catch up, keep those connections going and to learn. And that's one of the things that I love about baseball is that there's so much to learn. Like I was a right B team first baseman don't go very far, right? Like, so I will spend the rest of my life trying to figure out everything I can about the game, knowing I will never know everything about it or how to really play it. But that's the beauty of this.
Farron, Duquette, Power Alley. Normally on back home, you're on at 7.
We're on at 7 here too.
Pacific, yeah. You're starting at 9 like we are.
9 local time.
Yeah. So I was like, we just sleep in a little bit.
How are you dealing with being like our direct competition right now? Do you feel like we're cutting into your audience?
I was a little angry. Like they said you were going to be next to us, and I'm like, it's game on. I was like, who do you got? You got Farron or Duquette? Because it's going to be game. Like right now, we're in between the Cubs and the Cardinals right now. If we have to, we might have to solve a dispute here.
Matt Pauley's tough from KMOX. Like I wouldn't want to get into
with Matt. He's got size over these. I don't know.
The TV guys, they're all too pretty.
Oh wow, the marquee guys are soft, huh?
I'm just saying they're pretty.
I just knew if there was because Eduardo came over. I'm cool with him because he would have been before us. If we were next to each other, and he's a big dude, I got a better chance taking the Duke down.
Here's what I think that's I understand that, especially at your advanced age, that you want to take on the older guy and force Cody to try and
I think you guys are kind of a good match.
I think it'd be like sumo wrestling. I think the thing that we need to say is that if we had been next to each other, would it have been like, in honor of the Cubs, right? The bleachers yelling right field sucks, left field sucks at each other. Like I think that's what it would have been happening, is we would have just been shouting at each other. A lot of finger pointing. It would have been a very, very baseball brawl, right? Like pointing at each other, not actually doing anything.
I would have sabotaged your set.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
There would have been some stuff that would have gone on. Actually, I went by the Duke today, and because it's tough. It's like I saw you this morning. I want to come up and give you a big hug, but you're talking to 3 people. So
yeah, but they weren't important. You could have come.
I didn't know. See, I don't know. I don't know if it's your boss. I don't know if that's in depth or they're just MLB.com writers. I don't know.
There's actually it's an MLB.com writer and a PR person for a team. So yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So I was just like, hey, what's up, bro? So it's like you just don't know. I saw the Duke this morning. I don't know if he even Duke, I have to think, might remember me.
He does.
May not.
Who could forget you?
The great Duke.
Jim Duquette.
I listened to you. Eduardo was surprised. I'm like, oh, yeah, I listened to you guys on the way to play golf. He's my early tee times.
Yes.
Him and Steve Phillips.
Yeah, if you're playing from the tips, you're getting those guys.
It's early. I'm like, and he says he loves it.
He says he loves a lot of things. No, I'm sure he does. Like, listen, Eduardo is great because he's, obviously his most prominent job is doing Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah.
But he's so connected to the game. And I think he's a really important voice for baseball in that he is outstanding at sharing the personalities of Latin American players, which is something I think we are better at now than we were even 5 years ago as media. But it really helps when you have a native Spanish speaker to be able to do that, because we want to be able to learn about these guys, right? Like, we want to be able to connect with players on our favorite team. The other thing that Eduardo does that I think he thinks is important for players, and I don't dispute that, is he will challenge them to, listen, I know this is uncomfortable, but you need to do this interview in English, because trying to learn to communicate, it's not easy learning a second language, right?
No doubt.
And especially the older you get. Like, if you're 19 years old, it's a lot easier to learn than when you're 29 or 39. And for those guys who have been learning and working on it, the biggest issue that they have, I think, in doing interviews in English is confidence. If you've ever tried to learn another language and speak to a native speaker, confidence is an issue. I have a lot of family in Spain. They love to make fun of my Spanish because it's very halting, right? I'm always searching for the next word.
Well, and
the way to do it is to get comfortable.
Camera's on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's a
and
lot
a
of pressure.
microphone.
Yeah.
It's like, hold it.
Absolutely.
We saw with Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas at one point did not want to try English. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, your English is really, so it's a little time for us to build his confidence up to where all of a sudden he stopped the interpreter and he was, and now you wouldn't even know that he ever used one.
And I think the other part is that Eduardo's able to then share stories with us that that none of us would be able to get otherwise, because he's able to do those things. He's such a great connector. Yeah. He's a terrific teammate. He's just such a wonderful guy.
What are you expecting? Here we are. It's going to be all right. Obviously, when you have, I'll throw it at you. I've been throwing it at everybody else. I try and go, listen, Shohei Ohtani's don't think of him like as a baseball player. Think of him as like Tom Cruise. You put Tom Cruise in the movie, you make a ton of money domestically, you make a ton of money internationally. He's a star. You put the star on the stage, you make a lot of money. So right now, everybody's who's in on it, they're not going to be making a lot of moves because they're waiting to see if they can get him. Once he falls, what do you think's going to happen here? Because not a lot has happened so far.
It's a good question. I think that there's actually 2 players that are holding up the market, and the other one is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is,
3 times in Japan, 3 consecutive years, he's won their version of the Cy Young Award, the Sawamura. He's just 25. He pitched, if you watched or listened to any of the WBC, you heard Yamamoto. It's pretty good stuff. He moves the ball around well, but he's young, and that's going to get more teams involved than you normally would have because there's a better certainty about what he's going to be
You're
like.
buying
over the
prime,
next 5
baby.
years.
It's like Soto. You're buying
right?
prime.
So it's going to be a big number for Yamamoto, and I think in spite of the fact that he has not pitched in the States, he is the arm that is controlling the market over like a 2-time Cy Young Award winner in Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery, who obviously had a great postseason. So I think that you're right in that Ohtani is holding it up, but I think Yamamoto is too. And here's like, we'll use Ohtani as an example, right? So what are the 5 teams we've heard with Ohtani, right? The Giants, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Cubs, the Jays, all right? So let's say, and I don't think this is unlikely to happen. Let's say Ohtani goes to like the Giants, right? Or the Dodgers. Well, the Cubs and the Jays desperately need left-handed hitters. And they need an impact player. Cubs need it for their TV network as much as they do for their lineup. The Jays really are feeling a lot of pressure to compete and to take that next step forward.
Back-to-back rough outs in the postseason.
Yes, yeah, and they haven't won a playoff. They're 0-6 in playoff games over the last 4 years. So all of a sudden, they can move on to the Juan Soto market, right? If that's the guy that they want to add, or to Cody Bellinger. And if they want to move on to Juan Soto, well, people have been critical of the Padres' ask of the Yankees. Well, the Padres can ask that right now because there is no competition. That's the price for what it is right now. If you want to try and jump the market, they want to be able to see what those offers are going to be from other teams, and there might be better ones. And that might be more that leverage may help to push the Yankees deeper into giving up players that they don't want. So that's part of the reason why it's at a stalemate. And I think it fits the same way with the trade market for starting pitching. So not only does Yamamoto tie up the starters that are on the free agent market, but like the White Sox need to wait to see what most likely need to wait to see where Yamamoto goes before they trade Dylan Cease, because Cease has 2 years of control. The Dodgers are a team that are heavily involved. Now, it's not to say that the Dodgers couldn't do Ohtani and Yamamoto and Cease, but it's very unlikely that would happen, right? So like you have to try and play that out as long as you can, and those biggest dominoes to fall tend to cause that. Ohtani is just finishing up meetings with teams. It seems unlikely he's going to sign here at the winter meetings. Yamamoto isn't even really doing his big meetings until next week. So I think more of the activity is going to be pushed closer to Christmas. Now, that said, there are probably some mid-tier free agents. The DH market could move here. Relievers always do. I think you could see more trades like you saw last night with the Braves and the Mariners. You could see trades with like Minnesota has, like 3 players I think that are of interest to people: Max Kepler, Jorge Polanco, Kristen Vasquez. You could see them moving that because those moves are largely independent of the markets for the biggest players.
We need something.
We'll get something.
Or we're going to see you tomorrow. What time are you coming back tomorrow? And we'll talk about the winter meetings again and how much you love the winter meetings.
I mean, I'm still going to love the winter meetings whether there's action or not. But yeah, I think we're in a holding pattern.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Well, it's going to be one of those where for like the A's, we try and tell this is about laying the foundation for something. Like right now, we're going to see David Forst. We're going to talk to him on Wednesday. We got Kotze tomorrow. This is laying the ground for deals that are going to be done well after the winter.
Well, I think for the A's too, they're not like there's not a guy that you look at that they're going to move that's like a big impact, right? Like if they moved.
They're not moving. They're going to be signed. There's actually the thing is you need to sign. They need to sign somebody to get some innings,
right? Yeah. So
they need some innings.
You're either looking at somebody that's a bounce back, or you're looking at somebody that's in that 4th tier of the starters, right? So I talked to both those guys today, and so you're looking for that. You probably need another veteran position player to go in the mix, but they're going to be on lower level deals, high incentive probably for the pitcher. I don't think you're going to see them sign somebody necessarily at the Kenta Maeda level or at the Kyle Gibson level, right? It's going to be a little bit below that. And so they're going to play in that next tier of the market, but they're also going to have better I think, production and more excitement for some of the young players that are coming, and I think you're going to see some opportunities for guys that you're hoping to be able to put some role players around like they had last year a little bit with, Tony Kemp and Jace Peterson and Aledmus Diaz that can try and help alleviate some of the pressure on those young guys. But it's going to be mild moves that are more with the idea of not blocking the young guys to be able to contribute not just this year, but in the near future.
Derek Shelton.
Yes.
He's next.
Warren High School. I went to Lake Forest.
Wait, do we have a rival high school going
he's
here?
This is the third time we've talked about it today, so he's going to be
he's over
discussing it. Yeah. Warren used to.
Please tell me your high school is better than his high school. Yeah.
No, you played the good Lake Forest teams that had Alan Bennis, though. Alan Bennis, Mike Stamison, who was Mike Hardenstein's stepson, Danny Esplin. Danny Esplin was a dude. At Southern, yeah. Danny Esplin, great high school player. So. Oh, look. Kylie McDaniel brought his hair. Kylie, I noticed you're standing by yourself again. No one will talk to you, huh?
Hey, we'll talk to him. Hey, we love him. Are you kidding me?
I'm so glad that somebody does.
No one loves you more than me, though.
Happy holidays.
Hey, can I buy you drinks later?
Sure.
What do you think about that?
Will
you accept
as long
that?
as I don't have to reach into my pocket, everything's
Will you
good.
accept that?
Yes. Well, I'll hang out with you if you buy me.
You know what? Well, with Cody too.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
He can buy me
So
one
he
as well.
he can buy drinks too. You're the best.
See you guys.
Your show is our favorite show, and we talk about you, and I do mean it. I will butter up everybody that we have on, but you are my favorite show.
Yeah,
you guys have the best.
Boys.
I brought money bags with me. My wife's here, so she'll just buy the.
Oh, that's great. That's perfect. Here's to marrying up.
And then I have to buy her drinks. It's funny how it works. He never pays everybody else.
Yeah, but,
actually, you guys are kind of peas in a pod.
Yeah. You're on scholarship more often than I am, I think.
All right. Good to see you.
Guys. Take care.
Let's get the we're not going to break, right?
No break.
Derek Shelton. So they went to rival high schools. I'm right out of the gate. I don't want to bring up the high, but please tell me that when I see him, I'm thinking there's no way they competed against you.
I don't know if anybody could sweat as much in their ear like as Farron does. Like,
do I need to get a towel for you?
I mean, do we have like another headset? I mean,
here you take.
No, I'm teasing.
Oh, I'm saying what, but I know. I mean,
yeah. I mean, no, yeah. My high school dominates his high school, so I don't know. There's a superiority complex that he has probably about it. So, but I'm just happy, guys from the northern suburbs of Chicago are representing.
Last time we talked to you when the A's were taking on the Pirates, things were going really good, and it really shows what we talked about last time we did this was in San Diego about building culture, about building change. And you saw that. You started to see it. Talk about your guys' year with the Pirates to where it was going really good. Ended up, you guys played real well down the stretch. Also, I mean, obviously things happen in a baseball season, but you can see the ship is going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. And we talked about it and I think Kotz is doing a good job of it in Oakland. It's a challenge. I mean, you have to build a culture. You have to continue to stay positive and, look for the light at the end of the tunnel. And that all starts with how you communicate and what you do. And we're starting to see we saw it last year with being 14 games better. And I think we're seeing it continue to move on.
So much in baseball right now we talk about is getting innings. One thing I know the A's that we're going to be looking at, so many people want to focus, we have so many people focused on data. We have so many people focusing on bats. And the one thing that I've been looking at is how many people need pitching. So as a manager, when you think about that at the winter meetings, you need innings. You can't rely on bullpenning. You can't rely on bullpens. You need guys to give you innings during the year. How much are you able to talk about that with the front office and kind of your needs when you come to the meetings?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that Ben allows me to have a voice in that with our group. And you're right. We do. Everyone needs innings, and you have to find it in starting pitching. Innings are expensive. They just are in today's market, but you need guys that can soak them up. You need guys that can then go out and get you outs. And it's probably the biggest thing that, everybody's talking about while we're here.
Yeah. I had it down. 20 of the 30 teams have all pretty much said that they're looking for more pitching. 20 of the 30. Like, we can all sit here, talk Ohtani and Soto and Yamamoto and everything, but almost more than half the teams are looking to get better on the mound.
Yeah, I'd like to know who the 10 teams are that aren't.
Yeah, who's got that?
I mean, who has the surplus? Because we need to call them and make sure we can get to it. But yeah, it's something that I think is really consistent amongst the game. Is you need to big as big a stable of pitching as possible.
So when you think about going into this year, what do you think about this upcoming season, 2024, for the Pirates?
I think number one, we need more pitching. I think our young position player group has taken a step forward. It's going to be nice to get O'Neal Cruz back. On the field, we lost him 5 games in last year. So to get him back on the field is going to be important for us. But it's important for us to add pitching, not specifically while we're in Nashville, but before we get to spring training.
Yeah, you have a lot of athleticism.
Yeah, we do. We're an athletic group. I think the new style of play is important for us and helps us. So it's something that we need to make sure that we just continue to build off. And the fact that our guys were able to get that many at-bats last year was really important.
Did you really talk about the new rules and taking advantage of the new rules? I know we did.
Yeah, we talked about them a lot, and I think we probably did as good a job as anybody. You talked about our start. We manipulated them as well as anybody in the first month. And then people started to, realize what we were doing. And I think it all came back down to scale.
When you think about when you started and where you are now, what do you think you really learned as a manager and really a leader of men?
Be patient. I think that's the biggest thing. You learn to be patient with players in terms of what they have going on. And then I think just the whole leading thing is, and any manager that goes through this for the first time will tell you, is like, there is so much that gets thrown at you. It's not just the baseball game. It's 7 o'clock when the game starts. That's the best 3 hours of your day. Everything else gets thrown on you, whether it's front office, whether it's strength and conditioning, whether it's medical, whether it's players, whether it's staff. There's so many other factors that go into the day that's where you have to really just prioritize, what you're doing and how you're doing it.
I don't think fans really realize that one of the big roles as a man, because we think manager, players, set the lineup, go. It's really a game of managing up and managing down. Managing down is to the players, as you mentioned, training staff and everybody. Managing up is front office, ownership. There's a whole different game when you talk about when you're the manager and you're the leader, you're the face of the franchise. There's all kinds of levels that you have to deal with. And as you said, it's just not hopefully under 3 hours, but it's just not the 3 hours of the game.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. You are doing both of that, and you're managing relationships, you're managing other people's relationships, how they interact. That is the biggest challenge in the game today, is you're just the overall managing of people.
You have young pitching. It's coming. Like, what are the expectations for the young kids?
Yeah, the young pitching is coming, and I think that's the biggest thing. We have to temper our excitement on the fact we do have a bunch of young arms. We have to make sure they're ready to pitch in the big leagues. Pitching in the big leagues isn't just being a prospect and being a really good player. You have to go through the trials and tribulations of a minor league season and what goes on and the ups and downs to be able, because it's very rare that you see a guy come to the big leagues and have, sustained success right away. So I think making sure that when we do bring guys, it's the right time and not just because we rushed them.
And because of Cody being the biggest Pirates, like your biggest fan is here with the A's.
I know, I love that.
We're constantly we're updated on the Pirates on a daily basis on what's going on with you guys.
I love that so much. I mean,
Raise the Jolly Roger.
It's the reason I'm on the A's podcast. It's because of Cody.
I mean, I saw Greg and Matt Capps earlier. I saw, there's a whole Pirates contingent here.
Yeah.
I never thought
we're representing strong.
I'm glad to see it. I'm glad. But I wanted to ask real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Andrew McCutchen, what did his leadership and bringing him back mean to the clubhouse?
It was vital to us. I mean, we have a young club, but I think there's 2 points with Cutch. Number one, he wanted to come back. And all of our young players, when they think of the Pirates, probably, guys like you, they think of Andrew McCutchen. So having him in our clubhouse, was really important. And then the last thing is, like, Cutch plays the game like he's still 25. He runs every ground ball out. He plays hard. He shows up every day. When you have a player that institutionally is looked upon not only by the organization but the city that acts like that, it resonates with your young group.
The buy-in.
100%.
Got to have buy-in when the former. I mean, he's still a star. I mean, he's Andrew McCutcheon for God's sakes. I mean, he's going to get Hall of Fame. I don't know if he'll get in the Hall of Fame, but he'll get Hall of Fame.
Right.
When there's buy-in there, we always talked about with Marcus Semien. If Marcus Simeon's out there busting his ass and he's out there early every single day, Marcus Semien played every single game, took ground balls. I mean, if Marcus Simeon's out there, you bet everybody else is going to be out there.
And we're really fortunate. We have Kutch like that. Brian Reynolds is like that.
Yeah.
You know, so when you have your best players that do that, that messaging is a whole heck of a lot easier with any young kid that comes up and doesn't want to go.
And that contract being done, how much was that just like, oh, thank God?
Yeah, I mean, it was something I think we all wanted to get done. Sometimes the business side gets involved and it, causes conversation. But the fact that, both sides got to the resolution they liked, we're in a much better spot.
We're big fans.
Thank you guys
for
having
stopping
me on.
by. We always appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
I promise I didn't sweat as much as Farron, too.
You know what? You look way better, and I'm going to go with your guys' side. But you know what? We'll want to reach out to you in spring training, see how things are going, because I think you guys, this will be a year you're really going to sneak up in the NL Central.
I appreciate it. Well, I look forward to talking to you.
All right, buddy. Be well.
All right, thanks, guys.
As the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Cody, you got to be fired up, representing the Bucks.
There's a lot of youngsters coming up through the system in Pittsburgh.
And you're getting your big boy back, too.
Yeah. So hopefully add some guys in free agency, and we'll see what the year brings.
God,
we got Wash coming, so we should probably take a break. We're supposed to have Wash.
Yeah, because I keep my computer does not switch the time over. My computer says one.
I left the time set up like for us here. So 3:40. It's 3:45 right now.
Yeah. So okay.
3:55.
And we're still on this camera.
Yeah. Well, no, I get to put you back, but I thought we were going to go to break. That's why.
This has been a awesome 2 hours, and that's why one of the things that we have established here with A's Cast is the fact that we do multiple shows a day. That allows us to give you the best guest from the winter meetings. Carlos Pena, former A, now on MLB Network. I just chatted with him during the last commercial break. We're going to have him on. I mean, the fact that we basically say we're going to be on all day long. That's what we're going to do. We'll be on in the morning. We'll be on in the afternoon. And that way we can deliver all the top guests from the winter meetings like we did in San Diego last year. And then a couple of years before that, obviously COVID changed it for 2 years. But I was just saying, Cody, there's a reason why we do 2 shows a day. We know not everybody's going to listen live. A lot of people are going to go back and rewatch this stuff. But the reason why we're able to have everybody and have all these big time guests is because we're on all day long. So we're flexible. You got to be flexible. If you want to get all these people, you've got to be flexible.
Well, I was just talking to
Kylie McDan. When did we have him on?
Patience.
All right.
The Twins PR manager just came up to me and said he's going to try to get us Rocco because he knows I emailed him about having Rocco Baldelli on.
Okay.
Rocco's speaking at 4, so he's going to try to get him on with us maybe after. But so hopefully we're supposed to have Wash here in, what is it, like 8 minutes or so. So
okay, Ron Washington. How about that, folks? Probably the number one story, I think, for people who love the A's.
Oh, Stars here.
The number one story of the offseason. Ron Washington being named manager of the Angels.
It's a great story. Can't wait to talk to him.
At 71 years old.
Hopefully he can. No, not hope. Well, see, it's hard because he's managing the Angels. You don't want to see
that. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You want to see Wash do well.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the fact that Wash is getting this opportunity, if it's the rally monkey, it's the rally monkey. I wish it wasn't the rally monkey, but it is the rally monkey. Yeah. Ron Washington's going to join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are 2 things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldwork's got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
This is Chris Townsend and Commander Cody for Link Soul. You got to go to their website right now, linksoul.com. The new polos are unbelievable. New colors, lighter weight. We got our new summer shipment, Cody.
I couldn't be happier. I look better. All thanks to Link Soul.
So we're talking about new polos. You can check out their shorts. Anything you need for summer, they have it right now. When you go to their website, they've got a smoking summer deal. Go to linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa. Now through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Switch today. Requires paperless bill and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, I can tell you, for A's fans, the best story of the offseason is this man being manager again. Even if it's the Angels, we are so around Washington with us here once again on A's Cast Live. You know, I mean, everybody knows what Oakland means to you. The fan base has loved you as much as any coach they've ever had. What you've meant to all of us in our careers, and to get this opportunity again, we're thrilled. We're absolutely thrilled for you.
Well, I'm excited. I've always wanted this opportunity again to lead again because I know I'm able. And you know what they say: God gives you what you need when you need it, not when you want it. It's been about 8 or 9 years since I last was in the manager's seat, and I guess that's what the time it took to get back. And I'm ready for it again.
You never stopped.
No, I never stopped.
You never stopped. After Texas, you never stopped. The work never stopped. And as you said, the Lord brings it to you when you need it. You never stopped. And you got it again. And it's because nothing was going to deter you from it. And you always said there was nothing that was going to stop you from getting this again.
Well, it's about making a difference. It's about teaching, which the game certainly need more than any time it ever needed it, because the baseball players now are young, and you know, you have to teach. You usually do that in the minor leagues, but now you got to do it at the major league. And I've always been a teacher, and I'm ready for this opportunity and the challenge.
Yeah, a leader of men. There's no question about that, and that has to excite you. It's going to be. It'll be interesting. I mean, a lot right now is happening. Obviously, with this offseason with Ohtani, a lot of talk about Ohtani. But then after that, whether he stays or whether he goes, it's a new start. So just kind of talk about what you know about the team right now and what you're going to have with or without Shohei Ohtani.
Well, what I know about the team is we have some talent. We have quite a few young pitchers that have to continue to grow. We got quite a few young players that have to continue to grow. So what mode do that put you in? That puts you in a teaching mode. I put a staff together that love to teach the same way I love to teach. And we just can't wait to get to spring training and start teaching baseball. I'm not taking anything away from what the guys know, but there's a lot under the title of baseball that I want them to gather and be able to hold on to for the rest of their lives. That's what we're doing. We teach in baseball so it can stick with you for the rest of your life. And then we hit the field and we start putting things together the way you have to put things together to sustain. And that's what the game of baseball about, is consistency and sustainability. And that's what our vision is, to get out there and get consistent and sustain. And I do feel like we got the players to do that. You know, and through the process before the season start, we're going to add some players and then see where it goes from there. But I'm very happy and very excited about what I see in this organization. It's just a matter of them growing and learning and being consistent.
You know, Derek Shelton, the manager of the Pirates, was just here. We were talking about Andrew McCutcheon and how Andrew McCutcheon at his age as a veteran brought it every single day. It meant so much. And then I started talking about, with Marcus Semien and what Marcus Semien meant when Marcus Semien is out there playing every day, out there before everybody else, working hard. It makes everybody in that clubhouse, hey, stop playing cards, stop playing video games. If Marcus Semien's down there taking ground balls and getting ready with you guys better be doing the same. That kind of approach to a team, what does it mean when you can get some buy-in from the top players and, hey, let's stop sitting here messing around. Let's go out and work, because you can't cheat your way to success.
No, you can't. You got to work at it. That's why I say we want leaders. I want 26 leaders if that's what the roster is going to be. And the other 14 that's down in the minor leagues, they have to be available too, because you win with the total. You don't just win with what you start with. And the leadership part start with me and my coaching staff, and then Mike and Rondon, and it just keep filtering down. So you have accountability throughout the whole organization, and that's where we're trying to get. So, we're looking forward to that. And we ready for every challenge. We're not going to back down at all. We will come and bring our game every single day.
What was that first conversation like with Mike Trout?
He was overjoyed.
Yeah.
He was very thrilled.
He's played against you for years.
Yes. And, he's excited that, we have an opportunity now to start anew, because what's happened in the past, we can't concern ourselves with. We just got to learn from it. And if you go past what happened the past few years in Anaheim was the standard. So we're going to look when there was the standard. We're not going to look when things wasn't at their best. We can't make excuses, because we got a chance to change it. And that's where we're going to be. We're going to change it. So, and that's where Mike is. And we just got to keep him in that mode right there. And if we can keep him in that mode, he will get followers. And when he gets followers, we get stronger.
No doubt. And you talk about learning from the past, from the time that you were the manager of the Texas Rangers. There had to be, like, if I get this job again, I will do something. I will do, whether it's change this, enhance this, what. Have you thought about that, for that conversation you probably had with yourself now that you've got that job again? Do you remember what you said to yourself you would change or enhance, or something that you would do if you got this opportunity again?
Well, when you talk about the game of baseball, it's consistently about adjusting and readjusting. I'll adjust as I go along. I know what I expect out of the game of baseball, and we can prepare ourselves to do that. But as far as my trying to make up something that we're going to do, first of all, we're going to make sure that we have a foundation. That's the fundamentals. We're going to make sure our work ethic reach the level it should to sustain. And then as things happen, we adjust and readjust. That's baseball. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm going to invent something that's going to make things different than what the game asks you to do. We're going to be ready to do whatever the game asks us to do. And that's the only thing I got on my mind, us being ready to do what the game asks us to do when we go between those lines. And we'll adjust and readjust as we go along.
Pick up the ball, throw the ball, don't make mistakes, run the bases.
That's right.
Play some, and that's one
simplicity.
Thing. You know what I want to say? I want to see some running. Because we've talked about it in the past. It was one of the things that with your Atlanta teams, when you're with Atlanta, is like you guys have the ability to do everything. It just wasn't one thing. It just wasn't home runs.
No.
Acuna, you guys could run it. You could run people out the building. That's what I'm expecting to see. I'm starting to see it all. The entire playbook.
That's right. Baseball and everything underneath it, and we're not going to pick and choose. We're going to be ready to do everything that baseball requires, that you have to do on a daily basis to be successful. And that's how you be successful. Being able to answer baseball when it throws something at you between those lines. And we're going to be definitely prepared for that.
What was it like when you started getting all the phone calls from people that you've been in this business with for a long, long time? I'm sure there were some A's people who threw some text. And so I know we did, but I think about people that you've been in uniform with, people that you've known for a long time that care a lot about you. What was that like when you started seeing the phone and those phone calls and those texts?
Well, it was love. Inside the clubhouse, we talk about love all the time. And I'm not talking about smooching.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about caring about each other, helping each other along the way, feeling the bad feelings that maybe one of your teammates might have. taking on some of the pressure and allow him to catch his breath. Those are the type of things I felt when I saw all the texts I got. Total love. No negativity. You know, no matter what you go through in life, there will be some negativity, but it was all positive. It was all pats on the back for the opportunity that I have to lead again, because I think all the people that text me and all the people that call me knew that I wanted to manage again.
Yeah.
And the Los Angeles Angels gave me that opportunity, and I'm so excited about it. And I just can't wait to lead again, along with my staff and the players and everyone that's involved with the Los Angeles Angels, the fans that come in the stands, the ticket takers, the popcorn sellers. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's power and strength.
I'm so looking forward to it, to seeing you in Oakland and to seeing you manage again. And we're so happy for you. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time, because I know it's late here on day one of the winter meetings, and you made it special. This is a special thing. He didn't have to do this. He made it a special thing to come over and talk to you, the A's fans, because how much, I mean, think about all the years you did A's radio, the radio shows with Robert Bwan.
Yeah.
You think about all the time that you've been on Ken Korak, everybody that's still there, everything that you've given to us all those years. I remember doing pregame interviews with you years ago when I was on KNBR on the Giants station. I mean, you go way back with all of us. I think that's why I think there's a lot of love coming from the Bay Area, because you touched all of us, and we know what kind of baseball, we know what kind of man you are and what kind of baseball guy you are. And I can't wait to see what you do, because I know you're going to put everything you got into it.
Well, you know, I'm only one entity in it, but we need everybody to be involved. And the more people that can be involved, and the more people that believe, and the more people that do the work to make that belief a reality, then the Los Angeles Angels baseball team will be the reality that we all want. An entity that comes to the ballpark and bring joy, bring satisfaction, bring fun to the fans in the area, in the community. And guess what? We're going to be playing good baseball. And that's the bottom line, is that we play good baseball.
You could get this thing going tomorrow, huh?
I could have got it going an hour ago.
Get a feel good. Let's rock this
Let's
thing.
rock this thing. That's right.
All right, buddy. Hey, have great holidays. Merry Christmas. And next time we talk to you will be at spring training.
That's right. You have a great holiday, and Merry Christmas to everyone out there and their families.
The Great Wash right here on A's Cast Live. This is Chris Townsend and Commander Cody for Link Soul. You got to go to their website right now, linksoul.com. The new polos are unbelievable. New colors, lighter weight. We got our new summer shipment, Cody.
I couldn't be happier. I look better. All thanks to Link Soul.
So we're talking about new polos. You can check out their shorts, anything you need for summer. They have it right now. When you go to their website, they've got a smoking summer deal. Go to linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are two things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldwork's got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa. Now through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Switch today. Requires paperless bill and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Former Rookie of the Year and A's first base coach Bobby Crosby joined A's Cast Live to talk about his growth as a manager at Midland.
I wouldn't say there's a lot except for just learning the game more. I mean, there's always different personalities that you're going to get. You talked about Wash. A lot of the stuff I do came from him. It's a passion. It's about the players. It's not about myself. I had my time playing. That was great. Now it's about them. So I pour everything into them. What do they need? It's not about what I need. And I've tried to do that from when I first started coaching. Managing, there's always, there's different facets of the game. The running game, which I really didn't have to worry about as a shortstop that I've learned. And you get different personalities. Last year we had a tight-knit group that knew each other because there was a lot of repeat guys. This year we've had, uber talented guys come up, but they weren't a part of that same group. So it's how do we form these guys into all believing the same thing and being under the same umbrella and believing in each other. So there's always certain different things that are going to come up that are going to help me grow as a coach. Whatever happens with me coaching wise, that's great. And I would love to coach in the big leagues and manage in the big leagues. And I think that'd be a blast.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
Innovation is at the core of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students preserve genetic information from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and the entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
Streaming from the town, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, great talking to Wash and catching up, and obviously that was something super special to have him on. Can't wait to see just, what they're going to do, because they cleared a lot of space, right? So, obviously the Angels are still in play for Shohei Ohtani, and right now the Japanese media is, after Wash got done with us, he's now talking to the Japanese media, and the Angels are still in play. They still are. We've said it from day one. Like everybody said he's going to LA, and in the end, that could be true. But there is something to be said with, love the one you're with.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has been there, he's coming off an injury. He's very comfortable there. who told us earlier today that he bought a place in Hawaii.
Oh,
we've had so many guests now. I can't remember who told us that.
Yeah. Was it Matty V? He would know more than anyone.
Might have been Vasgersian who told us that Ohtani's bought a place in not Maui, but somewhere, could be in Maui, but it's somewhere in Hawaii, because obviously halfway point to Japan. And could that be, staying on the West Coast? Home now full time will be Hawaii. Can go back to see the family, whatever. You'll have enough money to fly anybody you want anywhere. I mean, he's got so much money now that he's made anyway, but is he going to stay? And when you think about the business of Ohtani, we see it right now. Look at all these men who are covering, men and women who are from the Japanese media. Their lives change. Think about it, they change. Like, so if all of a sudden Shohei Ohtani, let's just say, goes to Chicago, our buddies here, Marquee Sports, they're all now moving to Chicago. I mean, Shohei Ohtani's like a rock band. It's
Plus,
like all of a sudden, like where he goes, they all go.
Plus, there's already going to be a large contingent of Japanese media in Chicago because of Seiya Suzuki already too. So we're just adding on if they were able to get Shohei Ohtani to go to the not the south side, but the
west side, east side, northeast, northwest.
Every side that's not the south side.
So what's amazing is that all the AL West guys, we got Evan Grant, who covers the Rangers. We got everybody hanging around. Shep is here. He used to cover the A's, now covers the Angels. So it's like we got like an AL West party going here.
And also, and we're in center of it.
And it's all around Ron Washington, who has touched everybody, right? And we're efforting Rocco Baldelli right now. We'll be quick. So we might be getting Rocco Baldelli, manager of the Minnesota Twins, who there's a lot of questions, not a whole lot of adding, but a lot of questions. Obviously, with Sonny Gray leaving, people think that Max Kepler could be on the move. You got Correa.
They lost Maeda.
Kenta Maeda went to Detroit. That was a 2-year deal.
Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna need to, and they're not a young team.
Is Wash going to go talk to the media now?
Yeah, his thing was at 4:20.
Oh, okay. So we stumped the rest of the media.
Yeah, we got him first.
That's why they were all walking around.
We got him first.
That's right. We got Wash first, you suckers. That's not very nice, is it?
Well, this is interesting.
This is a huge powwow for all the managers today. I mean, this is even bigger than Aaron Boone's. I mean, for all the managers today, there is a massive, massive group here to see Ron Washington. And you know what? A's fans, I mean, this guy's salt of the earth. What he has meant to our organization, what he's meant to so many in baseball. It's such a cool deal. So did Rocco just have twins?
Yes, he did. Like it was during the season, I want to say.
Right. Then I've had
like September-ish. Like not like recently. So there you go. There's an end. He was talking about on.
Do you want to talk about my twins who have just turned 18?
Like, hey, I'm a father of twins. There's your end.
Twins follower of Twins, manager of the Twins.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, I tell you, first question, just how happy is he for a guy like Ron Washington? 71 years. Wash is 71. Right? Check.
Yeah, I believe he's 71.
71 years old. I mean, here we were.
71.
We were an industry that wanted nothing to do with older people. We were trying to run every general manager, every manager. We were trying to run everybody out of the game.
Where's Sabes at now?
Sabes, I believe, is back with the Yankees.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I saw Sabes in the bar last night.
That's between him and Evans. That's a lot of World Series rings you've seen.
That's 6 World Series rings. But I'm just telling you that you try to run all these older guys out of the game. You try to run the older managers out of the game. You try to run the older front office guys out of the game. And what have we seen? Maybe not a good idea. And now we're bringing these guys back in, and to see when you're looking at Dusty Baker. I mean, the last 2 World Series managers are 2 guys that have been run out of the game.
Yeah,
and brought back. I if you really think about that, when you think of Dusty Baker and you think of Bruce Bochy, they were two guys that people didn't. The only reason Dusty Baker got his job was because of the cheating scandal. If there wasn't the cheating scandal, Dusty Baker's not brought back. And then if Dusty Baker's not brought back and the success that they had with Dusty Baker, who knows about Bruce Bochy?
Yeah.
But obviously the rank, Chris Young, obviously a ton of respect for Bruce Bochy, played for Bruce Bochy in San Diego, but still, Chris Young, here you are, you have your opportunity to go find a manager that it's your guy, you can mold. You're not molding Bruce Bochy. He brought Bochy in to win, and it worked.
Yeah, and you're one.
And now you have, what do the Angels do? Perry Manassian. I mean, how many more managers do you think Perry Manassian, the GM of the Angels, is going to get?
I would say not many. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say now with AJ Preller having how many? 7?
I mean, Phil Nevin, Ron Washington, the difference between these two is unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. The difference in personalities. So, and then Rocco Baldelli, you have the Minnesota Twins. Carlos Correa's back. Byron Buxton, keeping him healthy will continue to be an issue. You're going to have to replace Sonny Gray, Kenta Maeda.
You got Mr. Grand Slam, Royce Lewis. What else does hit Grand Slams?
Yeah. Max Kepler supposedly is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see for Rocco. Expectations. What are the expectations right now going forward? How do you add? What do you look to add? How do you add?
Remember, their big move last offseason, besides Correa, was the Pablo Lopez for Luis Arraez trade. And Lopez was awesome
very
for
good.
them. I mean, he was really good for him. Then they extended him, so they have him, but the rest of their staff is what we're going to try to figure out. Well, they're going to have to try to figure out.
And they're another one that, one thing that has nothing to do with Rocco, but they're another team that has lost their Bally's, their RSN.
Yeah. They
lost their RSN money. I mean, that is something that, when does the commissioner talk? That's something we're going to need to get into tomorrow. Because already we've heard from Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times, the cable deal, which is actually owned by the Mariners, is a major problem. The team that owns the cable, it's a major problem, right? So Rocco's now joining us here. We'll get him in here real quick as we appreciate the time whenever we can get the managers on. We've had a great run. Derek Shelton was just with us. Ron Washington. Rocco, we appreciate the time. And first off, just your thoughts on the guy that precedes you there. We just had him on. Ron Washington means so much to he was a longtime coach for the A's. And at 71 years old to get that shot again, he comes in after you. I know you got to talk to him. Just for you, a guy that's been in the seat now, to know what he's been through and to get that shot again, how happy are you for him?
And I'm not alone. So I couldn't be happier for Ron because you see how much he loves the game. You've seen all the success he's had. Everyone's seen that for many, many years as a manager and as a coach and as a mentor, and the way that people feel about him. So when you see a guy that has done this so well, both the on-field stuff and the way he treats people for so long, you want people like that back in the seat, and you want people like that on the top step, and that's where he's at, where he belongs.
Learned so much from Wash all those years. Of course, Bob Melvin, doing the Bob Melvin show, and for yourself, we focus so much on data and analytics and numbers, but when you're sitting in the seat that you're sitting in, it's about the communication business and business about your players and your relationship with the players. Just talk about what you've learned over the years, because you remember what you were like as a player. And you think as a manager, now dealing with the 26 guys, plus all the guys coming up on the 40-man, it's a relationships business.
Yeah, that's what our game is. And younger managers like myself that are coming into a job for the first time, you may have an idea of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. You have no idea how you're going to do it. So that's what you're actually learning. That's what you're trying to figure out from day one. And you're taking advice and you're listening to people and you're trying to absorb all that. And then, how do you actually do it? How do you actually show up every day? How does that first off season go? There's so much I could probably dive into, but it's really, how do you do it? And how you do it? A little bit at a time. That's how you do it. You do it by talking to one person and then talking to someone else and talking to someone else and getting your guys going and everybody on the same page, and then letting them take the field and play. Once they take the field, then they just do what comes naturally. Your job is to really kind of oversee and make sure that everything else looks right before you send them out there to go play well.
Well, you've had great success with Minnesota. We appreciate the time. Hopefully you guys do some ad here coming up here, and good luck. Have great holidays, and hopefully we'll talk to you next season when you're in Oakland.
That's a plan. I'll be here and appreciate it very, very much.
Rocco Baldelli, the manager of the Minnesota Twins, trying to get them back in the playoffs again. And the Twins, always competitive, always tough, and take care. And it's just going to be dealing with a lot of what a lot of these teams are, and something we'll get more in tomorrow, is the RSN problem in baseball. The Minnesota Twins, they can't count on that money. The San Diego Padres can't count on that money. The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to a subscription model. This whole thing is changing in front of our eyes, which we told you about here on A's Cast Live and A's Cast. We've talked about it for years. That's why we created what we created. That's why we're getting all these guests. That's why we get these people, because everybody in baseball knows this is the model. This is where it's going. And it's been happening right in front of our eyes. And still, we have till the end of December before Bally's actually tells us which teams are in and which teams are out this season. So baseball, starting the new year, it could be early January. Baseball is going to have to figure out how certain teams are going to get on the air, and it's not going to be on cable. How about, I mean, that's wild.
Yeah.
To have that because of bankruptcy court, by the end of the year, Diamond Sports, who owns Bally's, has to tell baseball which teams are in and which teams are out, right?
Yes, I'm looking to see when Manfred's going to speak at the.
And Rob Manfred told us last year that baseball has to start understanding it can't rely on the RSNs anymore.
Yeah, I'm looking to see.
And he'll talk a lot about it this year because he's got a problem with 16.
I don't know if it's going to say if this article is going to have when he speaks. We'll monitor when he's going to.
All right, tomorrow. What do we got tomorrow?
We're supposed to have. Let me pull it up. I have it here. Hold on. We're supposed to have Nightingale to start the show.
Bob Nightingale from the USA. I was saying I've been talking to Bob Nightingale for almost 30 years. I mean, it's going back to the 90s that I've been having Bob Nightingale on all the different stations on the shows. I love Bob Nightingale. He's been a good friend of the program, even though the program's been a lot of different places.
So Nightingale, we're supposed to have Eno Saris, the great Dave Stewart. And that's just in the morning so far. I'm still waiting here on others. So we're supposed to hear about Dan O'Dowd and BK.
Brian Kenny.
Afternoon, we have Melvin.
Bob Melvin's going to join us, skipper of the Giants.
Stephen Vogt.
I mean, the guest list is second to none.
Mark Kotze. Anthony Castro, Vince from MLB.com. And I'm efforting, hopefully, we're going to try to get Dave Roberts tomorrow.
Perfect. And Chad Pender. I saw him. Carlos Pena is going to join us. Chad Pender's going to join us. This is why you stick around. A's Cast Live, we're going to have everything covered from the winter meetings. It's been a long first day, but it's been a great first day. It's been an absolute great first day. You did a wonderful job, Cody.
Hey, you're the one that did everything.
We go in here and we have some setup, but a lot of it is going to happen as we get here, and it's starting to unfold, and the biggest names in the game will continue to be here on A's Cast Live. Well, that'll do it for day one. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific.
Correct, yes. 7 a.m. Pacific, 9 Central.
So, you know what? Don't stay in the bar all night long, hanging out with Mike Farron.
I can tonight because Ray and I got here at 7:30.
Get into the gym, get a good workout, and get a good night's sleep, and be ready to go. Delaire's looking at me like, no, that's not.
Yeah, we're almost at 8,000 steps, so I already almost got them in.
You're almost there?
We barely walked around today.
Well, you know what? Tomorrow, another big day. I mean, you're trying to tell we got Melvin, Vogt, Dave Roberts, Dave Stewart, Kotze,
Bob Nightingale.
It's going to be a huge day. Thank you. Day one is over from the winter meetings in Nashville. We'll see everybody tomorrow. And not only will see you, you'll be listening too. athletics.com/AceCast. But thank you, everybody, for participating. Day one of the winter meetings in Nashville. We'll see you tomorrow. This is Chris Townsend and Commander Cody for Link Soul. You need to redo your wardrobe, especially for summer. They got new colors, new styles. Summer is